Welcome to another episode of the Tree Geek, the final episode, episode 27 of season 2, the final episode of the year, the Treefort Awards. Now, this will be dropping somewhere around Yuletide, around Christmas, right before New Year's. So, Happy New Year, Happy Saturnalia, Happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Happy everything.
Happy everything. Whatever you celebrate, or even if you don't, you're like, no, I don't like that. Well, have a happy day anyway. And thanks for taking time out of your Scrooge day to listen to us. We appreciate it. How are you doing today, Josh?
I'm good, but I'm sad.
Sad.
I'm sad because this is the last episode of season 2 of the Tree of Geek. We are done for the year. Can you believe it?
Which means we're going on a hiatus. We're going to, no, it means we're going to be right back here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We don't take breaks.
I'm good. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the next episode where we get to look forward at the coming year.
I am looking forward to it as well, and I'm happy we're doing this episode. I will say, though, precursor, I am a little disappointed, and I mean, I'm glad you're all listening, but I'm a little disappointed that nobody threw me any picks whatsoever or any ideas of what they thought should win some of these categories. So all the winners are based on Josh, I, and maybe 2 other people close to us that helped out.
I had one person that sent me their picks, and that's because I sent the list to them and said, hey, I need your picks. Unfortunately, most of them hadn't come out yet. She's like, I'm not even sure if they're out.
When I looked up top 2024, this or that, it would tell me things most anticipated. Like this article's from February. Like we already do our anticipation show of what's coming out. And during this episode, we will slowly talk about things as well that we are looking forward to coming out next year. So basically how it's going to work is we are going to get to a category. Whoever goes first will give us their honorable mentions and then the winner. But before we even get into the categories, before we even get into the winners, we need to briefly do a section that we always do called New in Geek. And Josh, in this timeline, where we're doing it right now, what is new in your world of geek?
Well, new in my world is a movie coming out that means a lot to me. It's one of my favorite animated movies that I get to watch with my kids. And fingers crossed, don't mess it up. They're doing a live action version of it. That's right, Moana. No, I'm just kidding.
Did you see the picture of The Rock?
I did see, actually, yeah, I did see it. They are doing Moana, and The Rock did sign on to be Maui.
They have pictures of him on set.
He is ripped. I mean, he's already ripped, but what's the word that people like to use if they go to the gym? Swole,
shredded.
Yeah.
More creatine.
No, I'm talking about How to Train Your Dragon, live action.
Is Gerard Butler ripped?
No, well, you can't really tell because they wear... And the Viking clothings and that is like so big and bulky. They really, from the trailer, it's only like a minute and a half.
It's a teaser trailer.
Yeah. And then there's like a little 2-minute, what do they call it, a featurette where they talk a little bit about the casting. All the outfits, all the CGI of the I almost said dinosaurs, of the dragons, everything looks right out of the animated movie and put live action. Like it looks so well. The minute trailer I saw, honestly, it almost looks shot for shot. I am very excited about that. That's one that I will absolutely be taking my kids to see because, like I said, we watch them on repeat.
I've seen the first one and that's it.
My kids love the second one, I think, the most, which is concerning.
That's the one where he gets a girlfriend.
See, it's concerning for me because spoiler, I guess, it's been out for a long time. The dad dies, and that's their favorite one. So I'm a little concerned about my own health.
Yeah, but he gets a girlfriend in that one, right?
He does.
Well, then they don't care about the dad. They care about the love story. I think he ends up married
to her at some point, too. There's like
the dragon.
No, that's the third one.
Oh, shit. Well, see how far I got into it.
But no, the first one's my favorite with them. It's a
When I have a kid,
movie.
I'll go through them all.
Oh, I'm sure. Next I have Home Alone's very own Macaulay Culkin has been cast in Fallout Season 2.
He's going to be perfect. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to be perfect for it. He looks like he's from that world. I
know I'm probably wrong, but I'm hoping that they take a small little tidbit out of the video game universe. And remember when we were talking about this, I said there's all these different vaults.
Yes.
And one of the vaults is a guy named Gary who just keeps cloning himself. And every iteration, it gets dumber to the point where all they can say is Gary. I want him to be the original Gary.
Well, time shall tell and see.
And then I also have James Gunn said in an interview that he has multiple R-rated DC projects in the pipeline just waiting to be greenlit. From the interview, it basically said he's not afraid to go R-rated, but he's also not pushing for it. if the story goes that way, the story goes that way. He's not going to be
organic.
He doesn't want to make it overly family friendly like he feels Marvel did. And maybe I mean the DC we always joke is darker anyways. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe they just need to take off their restraints and go.
Which is wild because when Marvel started beating DC in the comics is because Marvel was more real and darker.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was more gritty.
It was when you start seeing Iron Man's drinking problems coming out, which I had an argument with a guy today about that. He didn't believe me that Iron Man's the one that had the drinking problem.
Who do you think had a drinking problem?
Black Widow. And I'm like, sure, maybe, I don't know, but Iron Man's the one.
Did she drink a lot of martinis?
Like, they literally made comic books about, hey, I have one that's a giant tombstone that says, in the morning, it's something like Tony Stark will either be sober or dead.
There's the iconic cover where he's leaned back in his office chair.
Yeah.
And he's like drunk out of his mind.
Well, and that's like 2 issues after the one I was just saying about is when they introduced War Machine because, I think they were going to kill him off in the comics. And instead, they just kind of made him like a drunk who had to step out. I don't remember exactly how they
I didn't read Iron Man as a kid, so I don't know.
The darkest DC comic I can think of, though.
Is it the heroin one?
Yeah. It has Green Lantern and Green Arrow
an award for that.
On the cover saying like you're what was the
Speedy.
word?
Well, Speedy was doing heroin.
Speedy is a junkie and he's there, holding a needle. And I have that one. That one took me a little bit to track down. Justin over at Comic Cove. He actually found that one for me. He said that he used to be a drug rehabilitation coach person. I don't know what the proper title is. And one of the people he helped bought him that book as well as the Tony Stark one as like a thank you. So those are the 2 that he still has that he's not going to sell.
Right on.
I'm like, that's legit. I like that. That has solid meaning behind it.
It's good when you have a property and something tangible you can touch that gives you an emotional connection to an event.
Yeah.
It's nice.
But that's it for me for New and Geek. What about you?
Oh, I got a couple here and there. Should I go in regular order or reverse order? What do you want me to do? Jump around a little bit?
Every other odd prime number.
Should I divide it by its
square root of pickle?
Pickle Rick.
Go for it.
All right. Let's start off with I watched The Joker 2. I did.
I'm so sorry.
I did do some fast forwarding only because there was a crap ton of singing, but I'm going to say this. I don't know that the movie deserves as much hate as it got. I don't think it's a spectacular movie because there's so much damn singing.
Which we know you're not a singing fan.
Yeah, and it's not that if there had been like 2 or 3 songs or even just, I mean, it's just there's so much. And this is like 2 hours.
A Disney movie?
It's like 2 hours, 16 minutes long.
Like a Disney movie where like every 5 minutes is another song?
Yeah, maybe 10. I don't know. They break in and then he stops. And then at first he's just like humming in front of a TV in the ward and stuff. But then they like flash to him and Harley Quinn on a stage singing together. And then they go back to the reality. The performances were there. I mean, him as Arthur Fleck, he did well. Lady Gaga really wasn't in it that much other than the singing part that of course I did a lot of fast forwarding. One of the main guards, he's Brandon Gleeson, maybe his name is. Okay. He did wonderful. But the very end is what got me. I was like, all right, that's a really, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody in case anybody does have a extra 2 hours in their lives. The ending is really good. I don't think we're going to be seeing a Joker 3 anytime soon. I don't think you're going to be seeing Joker on the main screen in any iteration for a while. So we were talking way earlier about Terrifier and clowns, and I was like, I made a prediction. And I only looked into this because I was listening to the last podcast. I was like, well, I want to look into this. So Terrifier on a $2 million budget made $74 million to $80 million. That's 40 times its budget.
Wow.
Right? So the Joker 2 is on track to lose to $150 to $200 million because of how much they spent on production and how much for advertising.
Wow.
So I think that even though it did make more money than Terrifier, I think once you start adding and subtracting numbers, I think Art the Clown won this one. I really do. James Gunn's Peacemaker Season 2 says that everything is canon except for the JLA cameos. I was reading off my screen here and it changed it to Clay cameos with a K. I don't know why.
Was it really a cameo though? It's just their shadows at the end.
No, they talk.
Did they?
Yeah, Aquaman and Flash talk about fucking a fish.
Oh, yes, you're right. I forgot about that.
Predator Badlands will show the Predator, the Yautja, as it were, as the hero, apparently. The director, Trachtenberg, revealed that the Predator Badlands story, he said, the creature is in front and center, leading the charge. He's still a badass, but there's something there that touches you emotionally too. Creating a character you connect with, but are also super intimidated by, has been challenging, but exciting. And Elle Fanning is going to play more than one role in the movie. I don't know what's going on there.
Twins,
clones. I think she might have done some twin stuff before. I think she was in the Watchers movie. No, that was the other Fanning, her sister, because this is the one from the Catherine the Great show.
Dakota Fanning?
Yeah, I think that one. So, but she played like multiple people, so I don't know. And the last thing I got, Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, got a bronze statue in Burbank, California. I guess Wonder Woman and Batman already had one. Superman still doesn't have one. But Jon Stewart, which is pretty significant because, he's the African-American one. He was like their first African-American big hero.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool that it wasn't Hal Jordan. It wasn't Kyle Rayner, the comic book artist. It was Jon Stewart.
I don't know if Jon Stewart or John Jones.
Well, technically he's a Martian.
Yeah, well, true. True. He's
great. He look like anybody he wants to.
All right, fair. All right, so on this episode, like we said, we're going to be looking at the Treefort Awards Part 2.
Portfolio 2.
This is the last episode of the year, like we did last year, where we go through our fun multiple categories of comic books, movies, video games, sci-fi, fantasy, a little bit of everything that we've covered, and we throw out our top pick for each one. Michael and I will probably argue about it. Maybe we won't. We don't know.
We'll see.
We'd love to hear from you, but you missed your chance to put your 2 cents in.
I mean, now if you start ripping me apart, being like, dude, why did you pick that one? Why? Well, because nobody voted for the other one.
And the categories will be pretty much the same next year. So if you're listening and you want to participate, start writing them down in January.
Right. I think I should too.
Because it turns out going back and researching, like, okay, what came out? There's a lot more work than it needed to be.
Yeah, I need to start a file. Now, I will say as well to all the wrestling fans, I apologize there's no wrestling category this year. I simply did not have any time whatsoever. I think I watched 2 episodes of wrestling all year. And you don't watch wrestling. So, the wrestling might come up, though. We're here to talk about the Treefort Awards. So, I guess you can go first.
All right. Well, the first category I have...
First, before you even speak, we will, because these are all 2024 things that happen. Things that happened this year. There will be spoilers. Tons of spoilers.
Yes. We might not go into great detail, but we're giving you that fair warning because we might.
Yeah, this is possible. We might have to say, well, the ending of this movie is why it won. We don't know.
True.
Okay. All right. So you can go first. First category majorly is comic book series.
We've got comic book, like series, comic book movie, as well as comic book television show.
Right.
So first up, we have comic book.
Yeah.
My honorable mentions, the new Deadpool series. There's a whole slew of new X-Men.
His daughter's funny.
I do like his daughter. Since it's not my pick, I won't spoil anything. Mainly issue number, I think it was 6, maybe 7. Some stuff happens where she takes a more prominent role.
I didn't get that far.
So yeah, she's in it a lot more often, and I do like her, actually. She's pretty good.
Right on.
But yeah, there's also a bunch of different X-Men that have been starting. There's a new NYX, New York X-Men. It's kind of like a younger version.
I have a comic from way back when.
It's not bad. But the one that got it for me, and this should be no real surprise to anybody, was Avengers vs. Alien.
I have a huge list of honorable mentions. All right, go ahead.
Do you know how long it took me to cut it down to just those couple? So you're taking my favorite comic book characters, which is essentially Marvel.
I did read this one, by the way. I went back and I read so many comics last week. Many comics.
You kept messaging me about it, and it's like, okay, we'll check out this one next. So you're taking my favorite comic book characters, which is the main Marvel Avengers casting, I guess you could say. And you're pitting them against my all-time favorite sci-fi / horror character, the Xenomorph. What more do I need? Like, what's not to love about this? And now there's only one issue out at the moment. Well, sorry, there's 2 issues out. I didn't read the second one yet.
I did read the second one.
Oh, you did? Okay. What really got me was how the first one ended, which I won't spoil it.
Well, we said there's going to be spoilers, man. There's spoilers in this. Okay. Just say a major prominent character of the Avengers did this.
So Spider-Man takes a facehugger to the face. And I'm just like, wow, that's how they're ending the very first issue of the run. Well, it's the black suit Spider-Man, the symbiote, hops off, basically does his thing with the facehugger, and then crawls back up onto Spider-Man's suit as a black face hugger logo. And I'm like, yes, that is amazing.
Yeah, the ingenuity of that scene was pretty kick-ass.
And I forget who it was. It might have been Hulk, but one of them made a comment. They're like, oh, I guess symbiote beats parasite. And I'm just like, never thought of it that way. That's fantastic. So if
the symbiote can take it out, maybe the Thing could take it out.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. Anyway, continue.
But would a symbiote take the Thing out?
That's quite possible. They might be fucking related for all we know.
Cousins.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is my pick for my #1 comic book series. Again, I know it came out late in the year. I know that there's only 2 issues out, but I feel like it has insane potential, and I'm really looking forward to see where they go with it.
Right on.
What about yourself?
Well, I have 2 different categories here. I split it in 2 because I just couldn't decide. So I was like, you know what? These shouldn't be together anyway. So I picked a non-superhero comic book.
Okay.
And a superhero comic book. But I'll go with the honorable mentions first. Like I said, I read a lot, but I did cut it down. So I'll just go through them really quick. Spectrograph. It's about some ghosts in a house. Avengers Twilight was really good. The Night Mother, which isn't a superhero one either. That's pretty cool, about the moon and stuff. Alien versus Avengers. I did read those 2 issues. They were good. Blood Hunt from Marvel. Blade, vampires, good stuff.
Very good.
Doom is really awesome, but there's only 1 issue out.
Yeah.
So Wolverine 7 and 8, or Volume 7 and Volume 8. Some, that was out, but I read some of the Volume 8 one.
Yeah, they're good.
Blade Red Band was pretty cool. Resurrection of Magneto, Deadpool, Absolute Batman, which Joe told me about. Thank you, Joe. And Predator versus Black Panther, and The Terminator has a comic book.
So real quick,
Vietnam or something.
Just real quick, that Joe's got it right there. That Absolute Batman was like selling out day 2. There were people complaining on Reddit that they couldn't find it at their local comic book store.
But I don't know if it's that good.
They were complaining they couldn't find it at their local store, and online people were asking like $40-50 already.
What?
Like, apparently, it blew up as soon as it released. Now, I mean, I guess it probably died down some, I would assume. But yeah, that was.
I saw an article that said, "Is it actually the best-selling comic book of 2024?" I don't know. Maybe.
Well, everything I read said every time they try and find what is the top-selling character, every year it's always Batman.
Well, it helps that Batman has like 12 fucking books out at a time.
No.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying. Anyway, my winner for non-superhero is a book called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. This has basically been talked about as Richard Scarry meets horror. It's a town with, I'll just go through what I wrote
Richard
down.
Scarry meets Dexter.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It has an interesting art style, anthropomorphic, characters that are human like animals. It works really, really well. At first, when I saw the cover, I was like, well, it's intriguing because she's pulling a bag or a body, and I was like, and I started looking through it, and I was like, I don't know why. It took me a couple minutes, but I was like, I really like this art style.
But that first issue, the cover, isn't it like a garbage bag with like a trail of blood?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just strange to see these characters interact with normal animals as well. There's a scene where the grizzly bear girl runs into a grizzly bear in the woods, but it doesn't talk. So that was intriguing as well. It's like, why do some animals talk? And there was cartoons on like Disney Channel and shit years ago where, like there was a turtle and a cat that were friends, but yet other animals didn't talk. It was weird. So that caught me. If you think about like who is the killer, like that trope's been done before. Like, who's the killer? We don't know. But that's always like movies or TV shows, but it's fresh here because I've never read a comic book like about a serial killer. I'm sure they're out there. I've never read one.
Especially
a cute one with like Donald Duck looking guys talking. And the way that somebody gets dissected in the book where they're cut into little cubes and then they like haunt the person for like, it was just really good. There's crying, there's marital issues.
Does it show all of that?
It does.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really good. Anybody likes Dexter, horror movies, or Richard Scarry needs to go see this because this book like knocked it out of the park. It was awesome. I instantly just wanted to read all of them, and I binged it real quick. And I would probably read it through again.
I think
I don't really do that.
6, 7 of them out.
Or 6.
6.
Yeah, it's like a complete. That's all there is. It's just.
It's over.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I understand it, I would love to see a sequel of some sort.
Like I'd seen it in the store before when it came out. I never thought much of it. I saw it online plenty of times looking through different sites, and I never picked it up to read it. And I went back and looked after you were telling me about it. Issue number 1 sells for like $50 to $100. Apparently, it was just
lightning in a bottle, man.
Like, it was one of those so unique storylines that people were like, I have to own this.
It's good. I recommend.
I'll have to get it on Kindle or something, download it, since I'm not paying that kind of money for it.
Yeah, no, I won't either. As far as superhero goes, I got to give it to Fall of the House of X / Rise of the Powers X. I talked about this, I think, last year when I said I was starting to read some stuff. So I was a little bit behind. So I went through and I read all these. Yeah, I tried to pick up some X-Men books the last couple of years. And I couldn't get hooked. I couldn't get into it. They changed characters. It wasn't what I grew up with. And I don't know if it was a nostalgic factor that the cartoon just came back out, X-Men 97, but I was like, I'm going to give this another shot. And I went through it, and I'm glad I did. I wasn't completely caught up with the history of Krakoa and what the mutants are doing these days.
Right.
But this just has like Apocalypse in it, and it has Nimrod in it, and Cyclops is doing his thing. And just, there's all these different mutants from all over. Wolverine, there's a scene where half his face is like hanging, flapping as he's fighting somebody. It was good to see all these old school characters get brought back along with the new ones in an engaging storyline where when somebody was about to die, I was like, I hope they're really not going to kill this character. Like, I don't really get sentimentally attached to, like that, but I was here a few times. It's usually really hard to read 2 titles. You know, like if a big event comes out, here's the 6 titles you need to read with it, right? But there was a couple others that tie-ins that I didn't read. But just these 2 went kind of seamlessly with each other.
Right.
And it wasn't like I didn't feel lost going back and forth. And that happens a lot. And I was glad it didn't.
Right. Which, to reiterate for listeners, it was Fall of the House of X. And then there was also Rise of the House of X.
Rise of the Powers X.
Rise of the Powers. Okay.
Rise of the Powers.
I've read them. I just don't remember what they were called.
Yeah. That's a lot of words.
Fantastic story, but I know what you mean. Like, it's really difficult to jump in sometimes. Like, you got to wait for that beginning of a new storyline, because otherwise, you feel like you're completely missing out on stuff.
Yeah, there were some other comic books that people had put on their list of like some of the best ones of the year, but I went through and it was like mid storyline.
Yep.
And I didn't pick like the Wolverine, which I liked the first new issues, but like I didn't have time to read like the whole entire Sabretooth War. Like I didn't, and it did seem fun, and I will go back and read it, but
it's just like one of the series I have delivered to my house. I directly through Marvel as they release is actually Gwenpool, Spider-Gwen, but it's called. Well,
there's a new one called Gwen Stacy Ghost Spider or something like that. I started reading.
It's like Gwenpool or something like that. Ghost Spider. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I understand what you mean, because some of those issues are like, okay, that was good, but then there's the occasional one. It's like, wow, that was really good. But you don't know what's going on if you didn't read the rest of it.
Yeah, I did realize in that one, because I only read 2 issues of it, they reference a lot of stuff that happened way before.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the hell those people are. I'm not a huge Spider-Man guy, so I'm not on it. But yes, that's my hero, non-superhero picks. So what do you have for your favorite comic book movie of 2024?
Well, how many comic book movies came out in 2024?
I don't know, like 3.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I think mine is an obvious one. I'm pretty sure you probably had the same thing. Deadpool and Wolverine.
Why did we both pick? We both picked it.
We did. We went. Do you have any
honorable mentions?
Well, I mean, we went to see it together. You got the bucket from the popcorn sitting right there. No, I don't really have any.
I don't either. I have none written down here
because
I think I just knew it was going to win.
Yeah, pretty much. It was everything I wanted in that movie. It was funny. It was action packed. It had cameos galore. It had some emotional scenes that, even though they were still funny, you felt it pretty solidly, right in the chest. I'm talking about, the end scene to Madonna's Like a Prayer.
We did a whole entire podcast on this. We talked about how much we love. I think if we would have went to the theater and came back and that movie sucked balls, we would have like, what, we don't need to record tonight. We'll just skip it.
Probably.
But we did like a very love-fested podcast on this.
Yeah, I mean, for me anyways, I hope you agree, I think it holds a ton of rewatch value.
It does.
There's
I'm
so
holding
many,
off rewatching it.
There's just so much in it that every time you watch it, it's just, you know it's coming. There it is. It's still funny.
I'm giving it time because next year we're not getting a lot of movies either in comic books. So I'm giving it time. And the reason I'm kind of giving it time is because to me, this movie that's made $1.3 billion as of the other day, this movie has set the bar for the next wave of comic book movies. Like it just has.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every movie has to have as much comedy or cameos and things, but as far as the filmmaking, the enjoyment experience of it all, they better up their game. Whatever movies are coming out next need to up their game.
So we keep saying funny, but the thing about it was they didn't give Hugh Jackman random jokes to throw in there. Each character 100% played their strengths. It just so happens that Deadpool's character is made to be funny, and I think it worked perfect.
Well, there was a lot of heartfelt, emotional spots.
Oh, absolutely. It was one of those classic, I think Robin Williams was the one who said it best, that those who laugh the most are hiding the most pain. And in the story, Wade Wilson has a miserable life for the most part. Followed by, spoiler, Vanessa's no longer with him. This is his redemption story. And I think he even says that, like, this is my time. He nailed it. Ryan Reynolds, come on our show. I'd love to ask you questions about it.
That would be amazing.
I did read just the other day, I don't know if you saw this, that apparently the whole ending was changed in like 36 hours. Did you see that?
I did, but I didn't read the article.
I guess Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, said like, hey, what if we did this? And it was to my understanding, the way I read it, it was the whole, what's his name, like going on the pity party of like, they were heroes. They went down there. And then when he's like, he has risen, baby doll. And he goes, fuck. That was all like last minute. Okay, we got to reshoot this.
Oh.
And it worked perfect.
It sure did.
That's the only word I can use for that movie. Perfect.
I don't know if it's perfect. It's a pretty good movie.
Pretty close. It was.
I have some issues.
The best one we've had from Marvel in quite a while.
Oh, yeah. You cannot argue that point at all because
since at least Endgame.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I know. Quantumania was pretty awesome.
I'd have to look at the ones that actually came out since Endgame.
All right, Quantumania, Ms. Marvel. Do I really need to keep going?
Yeah, because I don't remember.
Black Panther.
Hmm.
All three of those flopped horribly.
Black Panther.
Or the Marvels, sorry, not Ms. Marvel, but
yeah, the Black Panther didn't flop.
I
guess Denzel's going to be in the next.
It didn't do nearly as well as it should have. Yeah, I did see that. But
maybe it was the glaringly horrible fucking CGI that was in all of it.
Yeah. But what about you? Why is Deadpool and Wolverine?
You nailed it all in the head. I don't think I need to repeat really much anything that you said. The movie had it all. It had comedy, it had heart, it had action. It had moments where I just cheered when Blade walks on the screen. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah.
I thought you were retired.
I mean, it was, there's a thing too, I guess. Fan theory. Oh no. Oh, I don't do those.
I'm so proud of you.
That Johnny Storm did not have the same logo as the Johnny Storm from the first two movies. So they're saying that Johnny Storm with Jessica Alba and them, that wasn't the same one. This is a different one because he had a different suit on. I mean, there's no way they couldn't have updated their suit, you know, over time, but whatever. I mean, Blade wasn't wearing the same damn fucking suit either. I'm pretty sure Elektra was wearing a different suit too, but that's fine. Whatever. Even Deadpool has a different suit, but they're saying it's not the same guy.
And the TV's Taylor is a Predator.
Let's go on to comic book TV show.
All right, well, since I just talked for half an hour, do you want to start this one off?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right.
X-Men 97 is one of my possibles that I had along with Agatha all along, The Boys Season 4, The Umbrella Academy Season 4, Invincible Season 2, and Echo Season 1. So I was like, I came down to like two of these. I was like, Then I was like, wait a minute. One of them was like absolutely 100% amazing, and the other one was just good. So I chose X-Men 97.
Okay.
Season 1.
Wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Yeah, it was Agatha for a long time until I kind of remembered that X-Men came out. I was like, no, it can't lose to X-Men. Can't beat X-Men. It doesn't matter. I picked X-Men. Why did I pick X-Men? If you look at 2023, it wasn't the best year for comic book movies, right? It really wasn't. What did we have in 2023? That was good.
I can't remember.
Exactly. Left a bad taste in your mouth. We needed something to cleanse that out. Now, we did get Deadpool and Wolverine, but that was on the big screen. We needed something to keep us with a nice taste in their mouth week after week. You know, that nice ice cream, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, whatever you want. That Neapolitan, Moose Tracks, you want that sugary. And listen, this show gave it to you. Like, it took all that crap out of there. And it was like, we're going to amp you up with a show that just, our first episode to last episode, it was like, I wish this was live action. And I'm pretty sure we did part of a podcast on it. We did an X-Men episode where we talked about this. Why we love the X-Men. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this a good bit. If you look at the original and this one, you get updated graphics, updated animation. They might have changed more for a little bit, but it all seamlessly goes in there. And the voice acting work that they brought into this one, I was just I was floored. I was absolutely fucking floored. It's superb. It's stupendous. The Magneto stuff in this was like the winner of the entire thing. It was the spotlight for me. The stuff at the end with him and Wolverine and the episodes with him and Xavier, Magneto. There's a reason he is one of my favorite villains of all time. You need a sympathetic villain. If it's just a mass murderer, like, that's a one hit wonder. This guy here, he's got more notes to him. You know, he's all over the place. You give a shit, and they give you thought-provoking stories in here about the society we live in now. You know, some of the greatest shows of all time. You know, if you even look at Star Trek, it's allegories of what we have now in our reality. It's like taking this stuff without specifically saying. I mean, how many times did you watch or hear a commercial for Law and Order ripped from the headlines? You know, that you want to imitate reality and do it in a way that makes you think, wow, or, oh shit, I didn't think about it that way. And this one does that. It made me fall in love with the X-Men again, because X-Men are not who they used to be anymore. Now, granted, it's the rise of X and all that stuff. It's I feel like they're turning a corner, and I'm looking forward to reading it past there. But for a long time, and it was just like the X-Men were, you know, they were on the screen. That's all I cared about. Like, because in the comics, they just were fucking boring to me now. But this show here, this killed it. This season 1 killed it. And I think season 2 is going to do just as well. What did you have for favorite comic book TV show?
Well, honorable mentions for my favorite comic book TV show are pretty much exactly the same as yours, except that I forgot about Invincible.
Did you watch Invincible?
I haven't, and I think that's why I forgot it.
Oh, well,
but
that's fair.
I chose X-Men 97.
You didn't choose Agatha?
I didn't.
The Boys?
Actually. No, I chose X-Men 97 for comic book TV show, and there's a reason. A lot of the stories out of X-Men 97, like, it felt like it was torn directly from the comic book. I mean, the ending between Wolverine and Magneto, if you bring up that
Fatal
comic book, it is almost the exact same image. And like you were saying about Magneto, they gave him a soul. Like, they really gave him more of a human, I can relate to him, less of a, oh, that's the overshadowing bad guy over there.
The speech he gave at Congress or whatever
like
that was.
Episode 3, I think. I was just like, holy crap.
I was like, I need to go relook at my ethical protocols because I might not be a good human. Oh my God.
And then you get the big, you know, there's a big battle later on where we do lose an amazing character. And I still...
Oh, hard punch.
I still want to refuse to believe that character is gone. But the fact that I'm pretty sure they're going to keep them dead, it just adds on to, like, when you look at the last interactions that character had with people, yeah, a solid stab in the heart. I mean, it was just like, it was one of those shows that could make you laugh and cry in the same episode.
That was the Red Wedding.
Oh, absolutely.
That season. You're like, no, they didn't.
Absolutely.
No, they fucking didn't. You sons of bitches.
And there was even some minor characters that were reoccurring back in the old 92 version.
They were all in the background. Like Exodus is walking around.
Yeah, but
like,
some of them you watch get taken out. Like some of these old characters that came up every now and then they're gone.
Yeah. Have you noticed that like every big episode where somebody just randomly dies is referred to as the Red Wedding?
Yeah, but I mean this was. I feel like if it's not if it's a big character dies. It's if there's a massacre, and I feel like this qualifies pretty well for the Red Wedding.
Yes.
Or maybe the Red Wedding qualifies for this.
Stupendous.
But like you were saying, I mean, they take very serious topics that related back then, that relate to today, that'll relate in another 30 years from
bigotry,
now.
racism, bullying.
And they take it into a nice lighthearted, almost humorous fashion, and at the exact same time, it is heavy and dark and real. They have that perfect balance. And I'm really looking forward to season 2. I mean, I know there was some controversy with the writer. I hope it doesn't show in season 2. I hope maybe they even bring him back. I don't know. I don't want to know.
Well, I don't think this is gonna be like a Rick and Morty where we have different voices or anything. You know,
But it was one of those shows that like I've gone back and rewatched the original. This will absolutely be immediately after those. The next time I do a rewatch.
Well, yeah, I mean,
flows perfectly together.
The whole Shi'ar Empire like bled right into this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you didn't really miss a beat. It was awesome.
It was. They absolutely nailed it. Because when we first talked about, oh, they're doing this animated series, if you go back and listen, I'm pretty sure I said, I might watch it. I'm so glad I did. It hit my number 1. So there you go.
Top of the charts. We're going to move on now to my favorite thing to do in the world, playing video games.
LOL. Angry Birds.
Yeah, I don't even really play Pokemon Go.
I don't either.
Yeah, so did you see some big update to your Stardew Valley, whatever it's called?
Yeah, I saw there's a big update to that and music or something. Okay, so I have 3 children, 2 of our listeners. I have a full-time job.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
I have a podcast. I have a side job, a business I'm trying to get started. I'm writing a book.
We need to talk about that after the show.
Which one?
Your side business.
Okay. Long story short, I don't really have time to just sit and play video games.
Yeah, I don't.
My boss,
it's like my wrestling. I don't have time for it anymore.
My boss and a couple of coworkers, they go on almost every night. They play like Call of Duty, or they play for a while it was Dead by Daylight. And I said, I'm like, you're gonna have to find a new 4th person. Like, I don't have the time. What little bit of time I have, I want to spend with my family.
Do you think that next year, no matter what video game comes out, that GTA is going to be Game of the Year?
Oh, absolutely.
Even if it comes out like a week before the year's over.
It could come out
because that's the only game
December
we're looking
31st, and they're already going to give it Game of the Year. Like, I will make time for that one.
Yeah, well, we don't have a PlayStation subscription anymore. The PS5 is about to be taken off the mantle, but we'll put it back up.
I just renewed my subscription just because I took it into work and I have it hooked up. But we're too busy. No one's gotten a chance to even turn it on, really. Like, it's there. So.
Showing in the break room.
Yeah, well, no, in our office. If it's in the break room, it'll walk away. So.
Oh, okay. Well. You know,
but
checking in
all of that to say, my Game of the Year is one I technically haven't even played. That's right, I said technically. The Last of Us Part 2 came out with a remastered version this year.
And you were talking shit on John.
I was.
For recommending a game that came out 20 years ago that had an update.
I was. But I don't really have a choice. So I was going to say Sea of Conquest, which is a mobile game I do play all the time, but I have absolutely no idea when that came out, and I didn't bother to look it up.
Oh, okay.
It's a pirate like boats game. You build your fleet, you attack other people.
Like Sid Meier's Pirates.
Kind of, but you can join a gang with other people, and it's fun. I like it. But The Last of Us Part 2 was a phenomenal game. I'm not sure how I feel about The Last of Us Season 2 if they follow the game, because it's going to be emotional beyond belief. But we'll see what happens. What about you? I'm sorry, I don't have a lot to talk about here, so we'll move on. I know you could just talk for days about video games with all the games that you play.
Well, if you want to talk about video games, bud, I do have a couple words to say. Now, I did outsource some answers for this. And if you remember, and if you did listen to the Treefort Awards last year, you will remember that I also did some outsourcing for some answers. Honorable mentions, though: Black Myth Wukong, Helldivers 2, Tekken 8, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, I went to Games Radar, I went to IGN, I went to all the places to find the highest rated video games. Now, I didn't play any of them, so at the same time, I messaged what I think is an expert in a way, because this kid plays all the time. I don't know how he has time in between band practice, because this kid does like 1,200 hours of band practice a week. But I said, yo, John, give me an answer. And John gave me a 1-word answer, 2-word answer. And I told you, and you were like, that game came out like a long time ago. And I was like, okay, John, this is an old one. So can you give me one that came out this year?
To be fair, he picked Final Fantasy Rebirth, which that game came out like 20-something years ago. The Last of Us Part 2 wasn't that long ago, okay?
Yeah, okay, all right.
And they've redone Final Fantasy VII like a dozen times now.
Correct. So I went to my next source, who is the actual expert, who the guy I was talking about originally. I went to Malachi and I said, listen, man, I need some answers. And he gave me 2 paragraphs of answers, one for each one. And one of them was Black Myth Wukong. Now I went and I looked online, which had the better ratings, that one or the winner. And the winner was Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero. It seemed to have the better reviews, the better ratings. Games Radar gives it a 3.5. IGN gives it a 7 out of 10. Game Rant gave it an 8 out of 10, with the players being a 9 out of 10. So I said, well, why? Why'd you pick this? And he said, I didn't play any new games this year. Oh, that's me. We didn't get to the quote yet. I apologize. Some good Crown Royal. He said, in quote, the game for many was the most anticipated game of the year since we haven't got a Budokai Tenkaichi game since 2007. The developers took everything that was good from the game and is making this a great game for casual players and those that like a little competition. You know, so basically, and this is kind of what I read in other places too, is they took a lot of the shit that didn't work, they changed it to shit that did work. People will complain about the menus, screens, I guess, but they said the action's really, really awesome. You can customize your characters, give them different move sets. And I watched a couple snippets of people kicking the crap out of other people, and it's a very pretty game.
Nice.
I did try to play a Dragon Ball Z game a long time ago, and it was too fast for me. I feel like I was just button smashing. I've seen Malachi do like crazy ass combos with these things. Kid's good, man. The kid is good. He makes people rage quit, apparently. And I did see a kid quit on him one of the nights I was there. He was playing. Now, I've been to the house a long time, but the older game, like the guy just clocked out. Like, I'm done playing you. Like, he beats the shit out of his dad, too. Like, in Mortal Kombat and stuff, he like annihilates him.
Now, did you watch?
Unintended.
Did you watch any of Dragon Ball Z?
I watched DBZ, yeah, on Toonami back in the day.
Okay.
It came out a little bit after I was young, but I like the idea of
Gotcha.
it. Yeah.
So a guy at work was telling me there is a Dragon Ball Z abridged version. I guess somebody makes these videos. He'll take like a 5-episode battle and put it into like 20 minutes.
Oh, that would be fun to watch.
But it's completely different voice actors saying completely different lines. Well, they're saying just like the most, like the one guy kept getting kicked in the crotch. And so the actor was just like, why does he keep hitting me in the dick? And it was actually hysterical. And I'm like, I just got the entire point of the battle in literally like 2 minutes. All right. But
you notice that like each one is
like 2 episodes right there.
Yeah, because that's Goku, but then Gohan, I think, is a little bit quicker. But then Goten's is like, come here. Like, as you get each generation down, they go faster. Yeah. Yeah, dude, like Goku be going for like 3 episodes, man. I was like, come on. When is this?
Just charging up?
Yeah, like, let's go. I used to have the soundtrack from, I think, Bruce Falconer. He did a lot of the music for like the first couple seasons of that show. Really good stuff. Yeah. Let's move on to, say, the video game movie of the year.
All right. Well, video game movie of the year for me is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
But it didn't come out yet.
It did when they hear this. Literally nothing else worth mentioning there.
You didn't watch Borderlands?
I didn't like it.
You did watch it?
Yeah.
You hated it?
I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it.
Did you play the game?
Yeah.
Is that why you hated it?
Probably.
Oh. So here's the reason I'm just going to skip over your category for this and just talk about what I liked. I had no honorable mentions because nothing come out yet, but I decided to take the time the other day and watch Borderlands. Now, I never played the game. Okay, so the authenticity of the source material means nothing to me. I don't care if this character looks different or talks different or has and you didn't appreciate the big giant dude like yelling out stupid shit like he probably does in the video game. Now it's time to bleed. Like, I'm sure he says that in the game, right? Probably. Maybe. You know?
I don't. It's been a while.
I actually enjoyed it, and I'll tell you why. Kevin Hart isn't a bitch in this movie. Every movie I watch with Kevin Hart, Now, I love me some Kevin Hart. He's from Philly. He's an Eagles fan. He's cool. He's whatever. It's fine. I'm a Lions fan. Hopefully, as you're listening to this right now, the Lions are like, they're there, man. Because where I'm from, they only have one loss and they're kicking ass. So go Lions. But speaking of Kevin Hart, that has nothing to do with the Lions. He wasn't an annoying dipshit in this movie. He was actually competent. He didn't just say stupid one-liners. He was actually a bit tough. He was smart. Like, he sacrificed or tried to sacrifice himself for a minute. I liked it. It was just a refreshing take on Kevin Hart. Not that Kevin Hart was the whole entire movie. You know, you have Kate Blanchett, though, because she's like the main person in this. And I thought she did fine. And even that little girl who's, she was in Barbie. That's where she was at. You didn't watch Barbie?
No.
Yeah, she was the little girl that's like, I don't like Barbies. And, you know, liking Barbies. She was pretty good. This movie was just sort of funny at times. It had decent action. Now, it didn't have a lot of competition up against it, but I thought it was a pretty looking movie. There's a lot of reds and yellows that were around in here. The villain was one note, whatever. Most movies now, villains are one notes. I can't really hold that against them. I don't know why people hated this movie as much as they did. I think it's because they liked the video game so much. I don't know, but I'm not saying it's like the greatest sci-fi movie ever made or greatest comic book movie ever made or video game as we're talking about here, but I don't think it was that bad. I give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's just a good movie. I would say it's a great movie. It's a good movie. And it sucks that it bombed because I'd like to look more into that world without having to play the video games.
See, I gave it probably like a 5.5, 6, just because it felt very middle of the road to me. Like, but again,
you need to figure out a rating system because like a 5 is really not good at all.
No, we just talked about this on one of the recent episodes, and a 1 means like not watchable, like Alien Hunt. To me, a 5 is just, it's average. There's nothing good, nothing bad. It's just meh. It's something to put on and not give a crap about.
Okay. Well, I give it more credit than that. And I at least picked a winner.
I picked Sonic.
That didn't come out yet, but that's fine.
It's guaranteed to be amazing because of who's going to be in it.
I wrote down honorable mention, no
Shadow,
others
man.
to say.
It's got Shadow.
Yeah, I don't even know who half these characters in that.
My kids watch cartoons all the time. Shadow's another realm version of Sonic, and he's like badass.
Was that like Keanu Reeves is the voice or something now?
I think so. Yeah.
Let's talk about something we do give a shit about. Even maybe something that we possibly would have done an episode on. What was your favorite video game TV show of the year? Do you have any for that?
I do, but I don't know if you'll like it.
Well, probably not. Was it better than Halo Season 2?
Yeah. Yeah, it was much better than Halo Season 2.
I mean, that show that got
Again,
canceled.
rest in peace, Halo.
See you later, Master Chief.
Dead too early. Now we'll never know what happens to Kai floating in space.
Where the fuck is Kai?
So for my top video game TV show of 2024, I picked Fallout.
Season 1.
Season 1. It checked all the boxes for me as far as a video game-based television show. It put me right into that universe. Everything about it felt right out of the game. It was so clean, so well done. And for me, the biggest part of it was the acting choices. Like, Walton Goggins
is a gem.
I
He's a goddamn national treasure is what he is.
I mean, like every actor and actress in that show was just perfectly handpicked. Like I cannot complain about any one of them.
Ella Purnell, man. I hope she's big.
Oh, she's amazing. I hope she goes somewhere.
I saw Yellow Jackets before this.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that girl's cool. And then she did this, and I was like, oh, shit.
Was that a horror flick?
It's a horror-esque.
Okay.
Like something weird's going on. It's like Lost with Cheerleaders or something. I don't know.
The only reason I recognize
it's fun. I like
the big dude in Severance,
mm-hmm.
You know, the one holding the keys at the end of season 1. The only reason I even knew him in Fallout was because of Severance. Or no, wait, sorry, other way around. The only reason I knew him in Severance was because I saw him in Fallout. And I was just like, I know that guy.
He was on a Taco Bell commercial or Subway commercial like a year or so ago.
Where he's like, new Jared?
No, it was like talk about like famous people advertising. He goes, well, I'm sort of famous, as he's like in an apartment eating a taco or something. And I was I'd seen him in a couple little things. I can't remember what they were.
I just saw Danny DeVito's now doing Subway commercials.
Now he's doing it's Jersey Mike's.
Oh, I thought it's subs. Okay, it's subs.
They're a sub above.
But
hey, if you guys want to sponsor us, I mean, dude, I eat a lot of your subs here in town, and they just got a pastrami.
That is true.
Oh man, whew.
Did you know supposedly Wendy's that they just opened in town?
It was backed up all the way past Walmart.
What?
And both directions from the highway and to Walmart. It was all backed up.
Tonight was their opening. We haven't had a Wendy's here in literally like 25 years.
Yeah, because they wouldn't even like cook your fries all the way.
Oh, yeah, it was horrible. Of course, we had a Papa John's in our town once, and then they closed literally overnight because it turned out they were selling drugs out of the back. My buddy showed up to work, and he was like, huh. He opened the door, and literally it was empty. Like, they cleared out. And he's like, well, I guess I don't have a job anymore.
That's wild.
What about you? What was your video game TV show?
Honorable mention, Halo Season 2.
Was that this year?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Feels like such a long time ago that we were graced with that wonderfulness.
It was at the very beginning of the year, I think. Well, as a viewer that came into watching this experience with zero information on the game franchise, I was utterly delighted in the way that this show brought me into the Fallout world. And then later, it shows me, all these beautiful things along the way. You got these crazy mutant monsters. I mean, again, you have Walton Goggins. It's just the different vaults. Like, what is the conspiracy? The flashbacks back and forth. Why did it happen? Why is this still happening? Well, there's so many questions that I want answered in season 2. I mean, we did a whole entire episode on this. We did our Fallout Boys.
We did.
It was a pretty high rated one. It did better than Dark Matter.
Oh, yeah, by like 300. Oh, no, wait. Fallout's actually, I think that's the one that we did the paid advertising for.
Yeah.
And it did really
That's right,
well.
we cheated. I don't care.
And then we had the only comment was a dude saying, wow, you really paid to advertise this? Yeah. You know what? We did, dude who has like 8 followers and posts AI remixed music. We did.
Oh, no. Yeah. Anyway, if you're still listening, thanks for still listening.
He comes back. He comes back just to downvote every episode, probably.
Yeah, whatever. We'll live. You can downvote all you want. We're going to do this for another couple years.
We have nothing else to do.
Yeah, I don't. Fallout is a show that there's not too many shows that I watch now where it's just like, I need more. Like, I want more. Where's that season 2? Where's that season 3? I want it. I try out new shows all the time. And some of them, like, yeah, that was a cool season. I look forward to season 2. But like this one, like, I'm mad that we're not getting this till like the end of next year again. Like, because right now Lord of the Rings isn't coming out for forever.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones isn't coming out or Hot Dragon's not coming out forever. Fallout's not coming. Like, I mean, look how long in between Fallout, or not Fallout, the Mushroom Show.
Mario.
Just look. Have you seen the SNL with him playing Mario?
No.
We'll watch it.
Okay.
Just look at, like, say, The Last of Us, how long that took in between. We still don't know exactly when we're getting it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Fallout, I don't want to keep dragging it on because we did a full episode, but like it just killed it. It literally, she walked out of the vault, killed it, and then went and drank a beer. Like, it was just the character progressions, people you thought you were going to hate, you did like, people you thought you were going to like, you ended up hating. You figure out why. It's just, it's so good. It's so good. Anybody that wants a new binge show, go check it out.
Oh, yeah. It was one of those shows that normally a show ends, they try and wrap as much as they can up with a little cliffhanger. This one wrapped up a few things, but left so much unanswered, especially if you knew the universe at all.
You know, a show is good when it gets instantly greenlit for season 2 before the season even drops.
Exactly. Like, you knew they made this already knowing they were getting a season 2. They're like, we'll talk about it later. And it deserves it. It absolutely deserves it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I suppose it's time to move on to our sci-fi categories. Now, it's no secret that our whole entire season was basically a sci-fi season. So this one, should be an interesting go. We have sci-fi movie. We have sci-fi TV show. We're going to start off with the movie. What were your candidates for sci-fi movie of the year?
So many. So obviously for me, number 1, originally I had written down was Alien Romulus. It's sci-fi. It's perfection in every sense.
You asked if you could do doubles, and I say you do whatever you want.
I know, but then I started thinking, and I'm like, no, I'm going to try and keep it diverse.
That's why I didn't do doubles.
Okay. Yeah, so first, for sci-fi movie, I was thinking Alien Romulus. Then I was thinking Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Subservience, Ghostbusters, Fallen Empire, other stuff that I can't think of.
There wasn't a lot of good sci-fi movies this year. There was a handful. They were just way above all the
There was a lot
others.
of sci-fi. I mean, I even consider like Twisters to be kind of sci-fi because they mix technology into it.
Well, Code 8, that had a sequel with the Amell brothers, you know, but none of them.
Which I was reading online. Apparently, Code 8 Part 2 rated really, really high.
It's on my list of things to watch. I just haven't got around to it.
Well, I got to watch Part 1.
You know, I watched it.
I never saw it either, but I was told it by my old coworker Jeff.
It came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
He was telling me that it's really, really good.
It's good. I don't know if it's really, really good.
I mean, you got
for a low budget, like straight to streaming, it's good. Yeah.
Are the Amell brothers in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that makes it better.
It'd be weird if they weren't.
But for me, I gave my number 1 place to the Wild Robot.
Rosalind.
So
she can complete any task.
So the one night we sat down, made some popcorn. We're gonna watch a movie with the kids, and then we jump on Netflix or I have a Plex server or wherever. Okay, what are we watching? And it's always the same thing with them. The 3-year-old is yelling like a Boss Baby and everything else. The 6-year-old wants like Wild Kratts or
okay, all right,
Paw Patrol the movie.
Oh no.
And my 9-year-old's really into that the Descendants.
Oh well, he's has live action. That stuff's kind of.
I'm just gonna say, like, they're cheesy as hell, but they're actually well done. Like, they're decent movies.
Disney has always, it's like Halloween Town and all those. They're always cheesy, but they're still
you're right.
Cool.
That's like their version of our old classics.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately,
technically Emily's classics. I was way older, but she looked at me weird because I was like, I used to watch Wizard of the Waverly Place. I thought it was cool. She goes, "Why did you even watch that? Was it because of Selena Gomez?" I was like, "No, it had fucking wizards in it, man. They were doing magic."
Yeah, seriously.
I love magic and shit. So
we're sitting there and we're looking for a movie to watch. And I remembered The Wild Robot. And I'm like, hey, let's watch this.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, kids, let's watch Alien Romulus.
I have done that before. Like, if you don't pick something right now, I'm putting on this. Every time they see the title screen, they're like, no. And then we end up watching, like, Paw Patrol. But every one of them, except I think the 3-year-old was like, okay, because animated. The other 2 were just like, no, I don't like this movie. I'm like, you've never seen this movie. Okay, knock it off. So I played the trailer. 9-year-old immediately is hooked. Yeah, we got to watch this right now. 7-year-old's like, no, this is scary. I'm like, what was scary about that? The robot's talking to animals.
I have to get Emily to watch trailers.
Well,
to watch shows too.
We got to a point where it was sit your butt down. No, you can't go to your room and play on your iPad. You're watching a movie with the family, and this is what we're watching. Wouldn't you know it? She has watched The Wild Robot like 30 times since then. It is outstanding storytelling.
The watercolors.
Yes, I was going to say the visuals. Like, it's not.
I just watched this like yesterday or the day before.
It's not your classic animated movie at all. The way they do it, it's like a painting come to life. It's so unique and well done.
DreamWorks has got some good stuff out there. They do.
And like I was saying, the storytelling, I've just found out it's a trilogy. My daughter brought home the first book from the school library and has been reading it. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Well, hurry up before it's banned.
Well, it'll get there. Don't worry. But what got me was I then went and I looked at some of the voice actors. Like Matt Berry.
Yeah.
Matt
He only had a couple lines and it was still good.
Yeah. He made that whole scene he was in perfect. If you don't know who Matt Berry is, he's from What We Do in the Shadows. He was in The IT Crowd, which is a classic British comedy.
Fallout.
Yes, thank you. He played the voice of Cogsworth in Fallout.
I didn't even give a shout out to Jack Black in Borderlands. He did a pretty good job as that little robot dude.
It's too late.
I'm just saying.
It's too late. He hates you now. Bowser hates you.
Yeah, well.
But that's my pick.
He's going to be in the Minecraft movie. This dude's going to be like everywhere. Santa Claus, whatever.
I did just read Super Mario Brothers 2 is coming out in 2026.
Well, okay. So, well, at least we'll have a candidate for that year.
But yeah, The Wild Robot is easily my pick. If you haven't seen it, even if you don't have kids, it is worth watching. It is a heartfelt movie. It's got
I choked up a few times.
It doesn't really have action, but
it does have action.
There's a few points that keep you on the edge of your seat.
There's some duck action. Duck
yes,
robot action.
You're right. The ending, I won't. It's very new. I won't get into the ending, but that whole big
climax of it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazingly well done.
I feel like the one octopus type robot was related to the Wall-E ship captain robot. Like they had to have been for like the same manufacturer or something. But Universal Dynamics.
Oh, jeez. That's my pick, The Wild Robot. It's amazing. Go watch it. I don't care if you don't have kids. Go watch it. Also, Matt Berry.
Who's barely in it, but yes. You know, it's funny in that movie, before I move on here, the Fox, Fink, I think is his name. I did not realize that it was his voice. I thought it was Matthew Broderick. I didn't realize it was the voice of Mr. Fantastic Four himself now.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Yeah. I thought it was Matthew Broderick.
Really?
Yeah, they have Pedro has a very good way of disguising his accent and doing different type voices. Not really major like voices, but just changing his dialogue a little bit, his dialect.
Well, where's he from? I know that sounds horrible in today's age, but like, I know like you'll get a lot of British actors who do solid American accents. You have a lot of American actors that can do accents. Is he Native American? Is he natively from America, but he does different accents? Or like, do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I do, because when I watch Joker, what
does the man sound like?
There's a guy from what's that show with all the damn stock market people? He's the British guy in that. He's the skinny dude. No, it's a TV show it's on that we've been watching. And he was the lawyer in Joker 2, and Suits? I was like, he didn't know. No, it's not Suits. For God's sakes, I don't watch Suits. Why does everybody keep asking me about Suits? I don't watch Suits.
Suits is actually good.
No, it's not. It's not good at all.
It's pretty good.
It's not a good show.
We quit watching when one of the characters left.
It's boring as shit. I don't care about the entire Suits show or White Collar or any of them. And if it's like a USA show, like I don't.
Okay, fine. So what was the show?
Burn Notice, any of those? I don't know. I'm trying to think of it, but you keep throwing Suits at me.
Was it Suits?
No. The guy from Alien Romulus, the robot, is in the show too. So we talked about it before, the Wall Street show. I don't know what the hell it's called.
I don't know why you're getting so moody.
Because you keep talking about Suits. They're everywhere. Maybe it's because I'm sick of that damn T-Mobile fucking commercial.
Probably.
Shut up. I don't have T-Mobile. I don't care about T-Mobile, and I don't care about Suits. A stupid show. Dumb. It might be an okay show. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention. Also in The Wild Robot, you already said Pedro Pascal. I said Matt Berry. There's a few other people. But freaking Bill Nighy. Bill Nye. Not the science guy.
No, he's the dude from
everything.
The Kraken show.
He's from everything.
Yeah, he's Underworld.
He's from Underworld. He's the museum curator in that Doctor Who episode where they take Van Gogh to the future.
Yes.
He's in it.
He's everywhere.
He's amazing.
He's one of the greatest actors ever to grace the screen. Should I talk about my pick now if we're done talking about Suits?
You do know Ving Rhames is in this.
Yeah, he plays Thunderhawk or Thunderbolt or something. I just watched this movie, so it is fresh in my head.
And Mark Hamill.
I don't know who Mark Hamill played. I did see that he was in it, but I didn't know who the hell he even
played.
And
Catherine O'Hara. I don't know any of the other ones. What is your honorable mentions and pick and stuff?
Suits. Zoot Suit Riot.
That would be the plot twist of the century.
My winner is Furiosa, the Mad Max saga. I know you were teetering back and forth between the robot and this one. I chose this movie because, quite simply, it is just fun. Post-apocalyptic fun. All right. I mean, you get Chris Hemsworth playing a wacky and dangerous Dementis that reminds you of like a high school quarterback. He's like big and tough. He can keep everybody in line, but he's not very smart.
He's like that
because Dementis is not very smart in this movie.
So he's like that police officer that played football in high school and then peaked in high school.
Yeah, only but now he runs the entire police force. Yeah,
that was a phenomenal movie. I think I said before, I watched that on an airplane.
What movie?
Furiosa, and I was just fixated. That's the first Mad Max movie I've ever seen.
That's wild. And I grew up watching them on TV, like all of them.
Well, what was it like in the 70s?
Back in the early 80s. Anya Taylor-Joy, great replacement for Charlize Theron here as a younger Furiosa. She plays a competent badass with good reasoning behind her to bring Dementis down. Like everything she goes through to accomplish her mission's great. I mean, it was pretty cool to see some more history of this post-apocalyptic outback without Mad Max, even though you see him for a glimpse and he's like way up on a ridge with his car as they drive by, and that was all you see of him.
Really? I never noticed that.
It was very quick. Like very, very quick.
Like an Easter egg?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Not a callback.
I'm going to have to look that up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was very brief. But then you get Praetorian Jack as basically a clone of Mad Max that, teaches Furiosa everything.
What was the guy with the weird mask? I can't remember his name. The pale
Mortis Joe.
If I remember reading in the originals, that was the director.
Yeah, he did it in the last one. That was not him in this one.
Okay.
It was a different actor. I think he's a lot older now.
Well, yeah, I guess he would be.
The action, superb.
Oh,
the visuals, stunning.
Some of the best car chase type scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, there was, unfortunately, there was like a time or two I was like, maybe they should have digitally done that one a little bit better. But that was like one quick snippet of something, and that's very nitpicky, and I won't bring the down movie for that. But
like the scene of her climbing under the truck, and then like he sees her, and he's just like, okay, like I'm busy right now. Like, it was just, it wasn't a humorous movie.
No, but Chris Hemsworth made it like when he challenges Immortus Joe towards the beginning, like his whole crew. Like it was just, and I don't want to give away a lot of this movie, and it's a longer movie.
I think it was like 2.5, almost 3 hours.
Yeah, it's definitely a saga-ish movie. Now everybody be wondering, well, you're talking about sand and stuff. Where's Dune? Dune is boring. Okay. And I know they just dropped the TV show with the Vikings guy, but man, is that movie boring. This movie is like the opposite of Dune. I didn't fall asleep. I didn't want to look at my phone. My eyes were glued to the screen.
2 hours, 28 minutes. So, yep.
Well, they made the best of those minutes for sure. It's just a fun thrill ride. Now, there's not a lot of like robots or technological weirdness to this, which when I think sci-fi, I think Star Trek, Star Wars, that type of thing. But post-apocalyptic definitely works for this, you know? And,
oh, yeah.
And even the wild robot, I was like, well, I mean, there's a robot and a couple other robots, but is there really like a lot of... The reason I chose this one is just, I thought it was more epic because it was between this one and the wild robot for me as well. I don't know how much more replay the wild robot would have for me, is where I feel like if I watched this one a few more times, there'd be a lot that I missed. I'm sure that when we have our kid that I'm going to watch the robot a lot. It's just going to be on a rotation. But yeah, I chose this one. I recommend it for anybody that likes the Mad Max series or anybody that wants to get... I mean, this is a prequel to the last one. And normally you're like, oh my God, not a prequel.
Is it a prequel to the last one they did? The last
Furiosa, yeah. Because she's young in this one.
Oh,
with the pregnant ladies and everything. Yeah. And then, the next one, because she has her arm for half this movie.
For some reason in my mind, this was a prequel to the whole franchise. But no, I guess it's not if... It's
in the middle-ish.
Okay.
First quarter of it. Because the original, you got Mel Gibson as a cop.
Right. And I've read a lot about it because I want to watch the originals. I guess as the movies progress, you see less and less greenery. And that was to signify the world is falling further and further into despair.
The first one's kind of tough because Mel Gibson, when I first saw it as a kid, it wasn't even his voice. They dubbed over his voice. And I didn't quite understand the whole Australian type of comedy because, I don't know, it was just different. I mean, I appreciate it more now as an adult, but I'm not really huge on the first one, but Mad Max 2 is amazing. And then Beyond the Thunderdome with Tina Turner. I love that movie.
What was the Fury Road?
Yeah, that was the one. This is the prequel to that.
Okay, gotcha.
The one with the people on the giant fucking speakers and Conan O'Brien.
I want to go back and I want to watch them all, but I want to do them in order, including this one. So that helps.
I would get online and look at a timeline somebody else has probably got it a lot better than I do.
It probably starts with The Matrix.
Right? Probably starts with Suits. What about sci-fi TV show? What honorable mentions do you have sci-fi TV show?
So originally I had Severance written down, and then I realized Severance came out in 2022.
I did the same thing. I was like, nope.
It's because I watched it this year. I discovered it myself this year that I thought it was this year. No, I do have Silo season 2 as an honorable mention.
Even though the first episode just came out the other day.
That's the only reason it is an honorable mention only, because I have only been able to see one episode.
That was an episode, buddy.
That was an episode, and I'm not going to say anything.
We'll talk about it off mic.
All I'll say is it looks like they're going to do the same, and they're going to try and follow the books again, which I'm really happy about. But, yeah.
Any others?
There wasn't that many. Again.
How about Dark Matter Season 1 or Fallout Season 1 or Star Trek Lower Deck Season 5, Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Doctor Who Series 14, Sunny.
Sunny in Philadelphia?
It's the robot one that Emily doesn't care much.
So
it's a hard watch.
So yeah, I had a couple of those on my list originally, but they all fell off slowly.
Well, they're just honorable mentions.
Kind of. The only one I would give a solid honorable mention to is Dark Matter, but I can't because that's my pick. What
about there was a Star Wars show too, Acolyte.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch any of the Star Treks.
Okay, all right.
I watched Rings of Power.
Well, we're not sci-fi. We're not the fantasy yet. So.
No, so my sci-fi TV show pick is Dark Matter. We just did a whole episode on it a few episodes back.
No, I need you to talk for 2 hours about why this show. I want you to go Jason by Jason. What's going on here? I'm
literally just going to edit in that episode right here. So it is a solid look into the mind of Blake Crouch. He's the author of the book Dark Matter, and they, like we said in that episode, they followed that book so well that it really it visualizes. Man, I don't want to say quantum mechanics or quantum, whatever.
Well, it
is, but at the same time, we're nowhere near qualified to say, oh yeah, that's a good representation. It's a good representation of what we believe a multiverse could look like. How about that?
Yeah, it's a good version of it.
It is.
And it's really interesting that actually this week we dropped the Dark Matter episode.
In our timeline, yeah. So that show, oh my word, it
Jennifer Connelly kills it.
Oh, she does. But it plays on the family aspect. It plays on the educational, like you need to have not like a working knowledge of physics. No, you need to just pay attention and have somewhat of an understanding of what's going on and what they're saying. They do explain it all, but if you're not paying attention, you're going to be lost. But that show, it's set up for a sequel. I love that the author, Blake Crouch, had a huge impact on the making of the show, because to me, that means if he does do a second book before a second season or vice versa, they're probably going to line up nicely story-wise. Maybe they'll do a second season and then the second book will be the exact same story from a different point of view. I don't know. There's an idea. Blake Crouch, come on the show. Talk to us. What would you do if one day one of these people messaged us like, hey, I'd like to come on?
I would get the logistics set up and we'd make it happen. I'm not buying anybody's plane ticket though. I'm
no, absolutely. I'll buy another chair. That's it. But that's my pick. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, the TV show on Apple TV. Also an amazing book. Joel Edgerton, Jennifer Connelly, Jimmy Simpson,
Simpson, and I said this in our episode. He was the MVP for me.
Did you see? On the Dark Matter episode, I put a picture of him up with his name underneath it because we could not, for the life of us, remember his name.
He's a McPoyle. He's one of the McPoyle twins. That's all I know. He's from sunny in Philadelphia. You'll always be McPoyle. I'm sorry, you're typecast as a McPoyle.
He also did the voice of Green Arrow in the that trilogy, Crisis on Infinite Earths animated series that came out.
I can see that. I don't.
That is my pick. Michael, what is your sci-fi TV show pick of 2024?
Well, I already gave all my honorable mentions that you're like, well, they fell off, but I already gave them. So my winner, I'll cut to the chase here. The Acolyte, aka Star Wars The Acolyte, season 1. Are we going to get a season 2? No, because people are stupid. But this is my pick for favorite sci-fi TV show of the year. Dark Matter, very interesting. Picks your brain apart. Figuring out what's going on. Fallout, amazing. However, I already gave Fallout a win. We already did an episode on it. And some Star Trek stuff is good, but it's still ongoing. And I did love the ending of Discovery. It was a cool season, but I don't think it matched up to the Acolyte. I for once picked a Star Wars over a Star Trek. I did.
So you went with
the Acolyte.
Okay.
Star Wars. I did. And if you ask why, I'll tell you the main reason is because I was instantly hooked. First episode, like 10, 15 minutes in, I was like, yes. And why would I be hooked? Because it's not a Skywalker story. It's not. And I don't know. I understand a lot of people hate that. There's no Darth Vader. There's no baby Grogu's. I don't need them. This one has witches. It has other Jedis. Ethically compromised Jedis. It has a more realistic take than not everybody's just black or white. Sometimes you make decisions maybe you shouldn't make. And the repercussions that come from that. And the lightsaber battles that were in this were fucking amazing. Holy shit. Now, there was one Jedi with a stupid mustache. I didn't care much for that. But the whole, like, every time. So it has a Jedi. It's the guy that does the Squid Game. He's the main character in Squid Game, which I had to look. I was like, who? He looked recognizable, but I couldn't figure out who he was. I was like, holy shit, that's the dude from Squid Game.
Like the main character?
Yeah, but he's talking English and everything, you know, and it's fine. Then you have your main bad Sith guy from The Happy Place. Is that what it is? Where they go to heaven with dead dancing?
The Good Place.
The Good Place, yeah. It's that Asian guy that, like, he's stupid and he's trying to pretend he's a monk.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy in this.
Oh, Jason was his name in that. He's like,
do you think that maybe I could, you know, what are you doing? He's like a stoner video game guy. But yeah, he plays the bad guy in here, and he's really, really good at it. So good. Yeah.
So I didn't watch it just because I've said it before. I like Star Wars. I like Star Trek, but I'm not a diehard fan that's going to dive into every franchise piece that drops.
Yeah, I don't watch Andor. I think Andor's boring as shit.
I've heard that from a lot of people, actually.
Well, it's getting another season.
And then we're not going to get political at all. I know The Acolyte caught a lot of crap from a lot of different groups for being not what it should have been.
It was woke. I'll say it.
Okay.
Whatever that even means.
You're telling me it's worth watching.
It is. It is. I think people should set whatever opinions that they have ingrained in them and just give it a chance. Just say, you know what, this is a completely different story that doesn't have a Mandalorian.
What would you compare it to?
What would I compare it to?
In terms of like leading off of source material, like, do you see it as like a Rings of Power to Lord of the Rings? Like it's a whole different story, but it still tells the main? Or is this like a whole, like, Alien Romulus, it's same universe, one-off story?
I would say that, because this doesn't really lend.
So this doesn't affect canon?
No,
as of now.
Yeah, it is canon.
But I mean, it doesn't affect the main storyline everybody grew up with.
No, you're not going to watch like the newest Star Wars movies that are coming out in the next couple of years and go, well, wait a minute, what about Acolyte? No, this takes place a long time ago. And like it's... So
it's these people's children that Anakin murders later.
Probably. Probably. I don't know exactly. I don't have a master's degree in Star Wars timelineology.
We'll get one right now. Hurry up. We'll wait.
Well, let me grab this Star Wars encyclopedia that went out of canon like, I don't know, fucking 30 years ago because they made the prequels and stuff. It's just a different show. But you still get the strange worlds with the strange aliens, but it's not all on Tatooine. There isn't like a bar scene. They went different directions. I appreciated that they weren't like, here is the same old Star Wars that we keep getting over and over and over. Let's give them something new. Well, you gave people something new, and they're like, well, we didn't want that.
Well, like you said, it's not just black and white, good and bad. It's morally compromised people who are still good people.
There is so many back and forths in the shows, in this show in particular with, there's probably 4 characters in this. They're like, they're good, they're bad, they're good, they're bad, they're good, they're bad. You're like, wait a minute, who really is the fucking bad guy here?
Now, do you think that's why people shut it down?
Maybe they made their brain work too hard.
Like I don't know, maybe. Classic formula of good versus evil?
Maybe.
Oh, big twist. Oh, wait, another twist. Wait, which way's it going?
Yeah, maybe they were confused because the twins. I don't know. All I know is for me, it was an amazing show, and I was like, dude, I can't wait for season 2. And then a week later, I heard it was canceled. And I was like, and now I do know there was budgetary issues as well. This made a fuck ton of money, or cost a shit ton of money to make.
Well, I know.
So
I remember reading that Disney was cutting a lot of their Star Wars properties, and they were going to try and re-centralize it and focus on the ones they knew, I guess, would make money.
Baby Grogu.
That's probably one of the reasons it got cut, was the reception wasn't quite good enough yet.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing, though, too. If you look at the newest Star Wars movies, especially the last one, people were pissed. Oh, so mad. But yet, we're still getting another 3 movies that have to deal with Rey.
Yeah.
But this couldn't get a second season? But we're going to get another Andor? Like, where it's just a guy running around hallways arguing political espionage? Like, I want some damn action, man. Like, give me something. Whatever.
I like those people on Reddit complaining, like, back when, was it The Rise of Skywalker came out? They're like, obviously, Palpatine is an idiot. Because in the prequels, he's shooting his lightning at Mace Windu. Mace Windu is knocking it back with the lightsaber, killing him. stop.
No.
Stop shooting your lightning. And then in this one,
it caused a feed loop. You couldn't.
She does the same thing. And stop. Stop it and just force push her, her brain in the back of her skull and kill her. That would have been a better ending.
Probably.
And then Anakin comes out and kills him and all the children because he's still alive.
Yeah.
See, I could write this.
Yeah.
George Lucas, call me up.
He's not in charge anymore.
I can tell. I can tell.
Well, they're like, oh my God, I did the prequels. Let's get him out of here. And they're like, where is he? We need him back. How about we move on to something maybe a little bit more optimistic? Okay, something for our human future. How about scientific discovery of the year?
Oh, I like that. We'll go from sci-fi into scientific.
Yeah, like some reality-based shit.
So,
Neil deGrasse Tyson, where you at?
Quick honorable mentions. They did recently discover 3 new galaxies. Like they said, each one is almost as big as the Milky Way. That depending on your beliefs, they're saying it could be as old as all the way back to like 1 million years after the Big Bang. Again, it just depends on how you view that stuff. Regardless of how you view it, it's pretty freaking awesome because that means that it's huge and they're 3 of the biggest ones that we've ever found. They did have one of the first successful implants of Elon Musk's, Neuralink. My understanding was, while still very early, yes, that the recipients were able to make it do stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
is it in Trump's brain and did he make Trump do stuff?
We're not going there. We're not going there. But my big discovery that I thought was just amazing, and it wasn't even a discovery, it was more of like an almost impossible feat. It comes back around to SpaceX that on October 13th, they launched the 5th test flight for SpaceX's Starship Mega rocket is what they're calling it.
That's a lot of words.
It's a huge first stage booster. That's what like really gets you up there, and then it disconnects, and then the littler ones push you further out. It's what breaks you out of the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. The big honking son of a gun. This one was known as Super Heavy. Yeah, super original. It came flying back down to Earth.
Is it made out of adamantium?
Yes. Let's go with that. It came crashing back down to Earth about 7 minutes after liftoff, and they caught it. Like, legitimately, it reignited, it slowed itself down, and then the same launch tower it left off of, they had what they called the chopstick arms. Literally, it came down slow enough they could hover in front of it just long enough that these arms could grab hold of it, and then the boosters cut out, and it literally came back to Earth in one perfect piece.
So it did better than the one the other day.
Significantly better. That one crashed in the Indian Ocean. I guess something with that one, the GPS transmitter on the tower was messed up, and then so it went the wrong way or something. I don't know how yet. They should have gotten Waze. Apple Maps. But this is one of those things like where everybody's like, this is amazing. And a friend of mine was like, well, big deal. It's just a matter of time until we could pull this off. I'm like, yeah, it was. But this is literally the first step to a reusable rocket. Think of the first time they successfully landed an airplane and said, hey, we can reuse this. This is it.
Did they have disposable airplanes?
Oh, I'm going to guess the first ones were. Yeah.
Unintentionally? Intentionally?
Yeah.
The Spirit Airlines. We've been flying since the Orville's. Heard they're being sold.
But no, I just thought it was absolutely fascinating that this is, in my opinion, the first major step towards space travel. The idea that like
dominating this universe.
We could go somewhere, come back, land essentially some type of rocket. I mean, right now it's just the booster, but refuel and take off again. Yeah. I mean, I don't think some people understand just how amazing this could potentially be.
Well, I'm glad something good is going to happen to our environment.
They can replicate it. They got 1 out of how many tries? So let's go for 2, people.
2 for Tuesday. It's not Tuesday, but
that is my scientific discovery. In my opinion, nothing's going to top it. What do you got?
What do I have? Well, keeping up on the times, I wrote down a couple mentions. So they've cloned a monkey.
Successfully?
Successfully.
Like the sheep?
Yeah, like Dolly from way back in the day.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. They did some research on these one particular monkeys. I don't remember what they are, but apparently these one monkeys can, they call each other by name. There's different vocalizations and squeaks and whatever they do.
Nope. Yep. This is the start of Planet of the Apes, people.
Yeah, well, we're already at Terminator, so we'll see who wins. Battery enhancements advancements. You know, China's doing some stuff, Australia's doing some stuff, water batteries, and trying to get these EVs to be a little bit more safe. You know, because what is it like? For every 100,000 EVs, like 25 have caught fire.
Yeah,
everybody's like, oh, they're catching fire everywhere. Like it's 25. Like my Dodge Dart has a better chance of catching on fire.
The scary thing is the reason people freak out is just because it's a lithium battery, and lithium can't be put out with water. You literally just have to wait.
Well, that's why, you know, I almost chose the battery advancements here, but I chose what is called the Big Ring anomaly, discovered by a lady who also discovered the arc. So why it's important is that it's a structure in space that kind of contradicts the boundaries that we understand when it comes to cosmological theory and the principles that have been like the standard for a while. This thing is 1.3 billion light years in diameter. It's like almost in this big giant circle. It's more like a slinky, really. So it's like strange that it's that large. And she also discovered the arc that it's really next to that's even bigger, which is basically, it's not really an arc. It's just like a circle that's not completed. But when you have something that large and they're saying that what created it could be not too much longer after the Big Bang happened, which defies how the universe was made by the theories that we have out today. Basically, we say that all things are constructed one way, and this like goes the other way. I'm pretty sure it's called...
What are they made out of?
What are they made of? It's like galaxies. It's like a ring of galaxies.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's like 9.2 billion light years away in the constellation Boots. Alexa Lopez, a PhD student from Central Lancashire. She's the one who discovered both of these this year. It's one of the 7 largest known structures found in the galaxy. Like, it's just absolutely massive, and how it's in the shape that it is, which is really weird because when the arc is that big, and she only discovered it because some of the light from the galaxies was disappearing and she couldn't figure out where. And then she found out that this giant slinky circle thing was taking the light from it. So really they should be like tearing each other apart through like gravity, but they're really not. Like they're staying evenly with each other. It's kind of wild. If you think about our universe is supposed to be homogeneous, which means that it's made of the same parts and the same elements, and it's isotropic, which means that like there's identical properties in all directions. These galaxies are made this way, this way, this way. No matter where you look, that's the way they're made. But we can't really figure out how these were made with their size in comparison to what everything's around them.
So like no matter where you go, you're going to find carbon, you're going to find hydrogen, you're going to find nitrogen.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I didn't go to school. I'm not like a scientist. Maybe I've said something wrong. I just read a couple articles. You sound
like you are right now. Keep going.
I don't know. All I know is this is the 7th largest structure that they found. The largest in the observable universe. This thing, I think, takes up 1/15 of the observable universe of how large it is. Like, this is some Stargate shit. Okay. This is like, I'm thinking to myself, some alien species out there, some alien empire has constructed galaxies in a circle for certain reasons.
Sounds like the start of a sci-fi book.
And somehow we just now found out about it, and they probably already know that we know.
Maybe it is like that, and it's like their galactic empire, and now we have to join it, and they're going to pull our entire galaxy in and put us into the spiral.
Maybe. And the reason...
If we don't join, we go into the arc. That's just going to be a a future spiral of bad people.
That's good. Ugh, I don't know. And I think this is important because when we're talking about the way we treat our Earth, we were talking about futuristic missions like Mars and the moon again. You're talking about SpaceX and the reusable rockets. We're to a point now, I talked about the James Webb Telescope last year. That was the photos were my pick last year. The fact that we're able to observe certain things now that we couldn't a long time ago, and the fact that we're finding ways to upend science, where it's always every generation grows up, science is this way, math is this way, gravity is this way, radiations. I mean, we have Clark-Gluon plasma now that is so intense. Like the stuff that we're discovering these days is wild. Our understanding of the universe and of ourselves is skyrocketing faster than I think a lot of people are able to keep up. It's if you look at how long ago we had the steam engine to the car till we went to the moon, and the fucking shit that your phone can do right now, we're going at an exponential rate of scientific discovery, robots, AI. Like, it's just wild. So the fact that we can see what's in the universe now, who knows what we're going to find out in the next 15, 20 years, and what are we going to do with that information?
Well, it's a fact that the technology in your pocket, in just your phone, or just a smartwatch, or heck, a TI graphing calculator, you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
There's more power in that than what put us on the moon, if you believe we went to the moon. Like, it's incredible. And so this is my bi-weekly plug for, on our podcast for Mysterious Universe. They have come right out and said that all the experts even say we're currently due for another boom in technology. Like, every so many years or whatever, like you hit this progression, like where we steadily learn more, and then all of a sudden there's a boom, we learn a lot, and then you climb from that again. It's
that one breakthrough that's going to happen.
Yeah. And
somebody's going to be able to, it's like a cold fusion thing.
Like, a lot of people say, well, it was the internet, no, the internet was originally made for military purposes. It just became commercialized. We're due for another massive, like, intelligence boom.
Yeah. Well, it's going to probably be intelligence itself.
I won't get into it, but the one episode they had, I can't remember.
Sounds like you're getting into it.
I can't remember his name. It was an Indian professor, but he was saying that, like, in their beliefs, there's this thing called the Kali Yuga. That's essentially like their calendar of spirituality type of thing. And that early next year, it ends. And when it ends, it's usually like a massive drop off into a very bad period of time, or a sudden jump up into like a very good, intelligent, like, awakening period of time. The question is, what's coming? I just find that stuff fascinating, and not saying I believe it all. I just find it absolutely fascinating to listen to. And a lot of that stuff, I mean, yeah, okay, maybe it's not going to be like some sudden awakening where the clouds break open and, like, all of a sudden we're all smart.
The Simpsons.
But yeah, but a lot of that stuff has some merit to it. Like, they've looked at patterns. They have seen rise and falls of civilizations, and who knows what's coming. Maybe early next year, all these congressional meetings of are aliens real? UAPs, as they call them now, not UFOs.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think that might have been our best little section. I enjoyed that.
How about we move on to fantasy? Let's go to a world of make-believe.
So this next category, I tweaked a little bit. Sorry, but it was a fantasy book. I haven't read a fantasy book this year, but I've read a sci-fi book. So we're doing fantasy/sci-fi.
You can do a sci-fi book. I'll do a fantasy book.
Perfect. So now here's the other thing. I can't remember if this book came out at the end of 2023 or the very beginning of 24. So I'm just going with it because I've read it in 24. Okay, get over it.
You do zero research on your pick.
Look, the dude puts out at least one book a year, so I feel kind of safe that it was beginning of this year. Okay.
Okay.
So I picked Crystal World by B.V. Larson.
Me too.
It is in the Undying Mercenary series.
Yeah, I think
I have them all if you'd like to borrow.
Yeah, I'm good.
The book series follows, I think I've said about this before, humanity finally reaches the stars in a capacity that's more than just let's go to space and float around in the space station.
We got to give something to the people.
Yeah, we got to
play our part.
We have to have a tradable good for their galactic empire, so we give mercenaries because we get a revival machine, so it's basically a renewable resource at this point, and it follows one main character who Well,
tell me about this book in particular. What made this book win?
So this book, it follows the same basic formula as all the other ones, but they twisted it this time. Instead of your normal, like, oh, it's the recurring bad guy, like there's a couple races that they fight against. This was more of a, shit, we need to join together because this new entity is significantly stronger and we don't know what to do here. It's basically a space war novel with a lot of humor, a lot of predictability, but at the same time, they're just fun to read. I thoroughly enjoy it. My buddy Jordan got me into it. He's listened on audiobook to the entire series multiple times. He used to be in a truck like 5-6 hours a day. I'm sure you know what that's like.
Yeah.
And he would just listen to audiobooks all day.
I listen to metal.
Same thing.
There you go. Yeah.
But I chose this one. If you're looking for a good sci-fi book, I strongly recommend look up Undying Mercenaries by B.V. Larson. The very first book is called Steel World. He fights dinosaur creatures. It's a race of dinosaur men. So
nice.
It's worth it. It really is. It is a very fun story. And he's relatable. He's your classic, like, I think like backwoods Georgia or something like that, hillbilly. Like he has no business being in the military, but it was his last option. Why you think
that I'm relatable to that?
No, not you. I'm saying in general.
Hillbilly from Georgia.
I'm saying in general. Wow. Like it's an everyday Joe Schmo. But whatever. What is your pick?
Well, I'll tell you what my pick is, son. All right.
Did it come out
this rifle year? Right now? Yeah, it came out this year. So I have not got a chance to really read anything other than The Wheel of Time. Now, I'm not going to pick The Wheel of Time because The Wheel of Time's been out for a very, very long time.
A couple days.
So I outsourced again. I went and looked around. I went to Barnes & Noble and some other places. I went to Reddit. There was a whole thread on the best books that came out this year. And I wrote them down and I did some research, found some ratings on Barnes & Noble, user ratings. People have bought these books and what they said about them. So some honorable mentions, House of Flame and Shadow got a 4.3 on Barnes & Noble. The Daughter's War got 4.0, and The Book That Broke the World got 4.0. And these ones, I kept hearing about them all over Reddit. Everywhere I looked, these were like the same books that kept coming up on lists. But the one that won was The Empire of the Damned, got a 4.7 out of 5. So it must be a good book, right? So what it's basically about, from my understanding...
Vampires.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. It follows Anna Delarbra, an eccentric detective with a reputation for brilliance, and her assistant Dinios Cole, who has a magically enhanced memory. They investigate a bizarre murder of a high-ranking Imperial officer, Dartana, where a tree mysteriously sprouts from his body. As they unravel the mystery, they uncover a plot that threatens the safety of the Empire. This book is now on my list to read for sure, because it is. I mean,
that sounds good.
A murder, like, wait a minute. So the tree's growing out of them?
That's what it sounds like.
So what the hell's that all about? I think it's part of a series of books. I think this is like...
What actually happened was they ate a watermelon seed. And it sprouted.
Well, I eat those and apple seeds all the time. So
no, don't eat arsenic, man. You can't do that.
You got to eat like 500,000 of them.
I will tell you what. If you want to read a good fantasy story or fantasy,
I don't
series. I'm sure you don't. I'll let you borrow. It's called Storm. I almost said Storm World. It's called Stormfront. Storm World is actually another Beefy Larson book. No, it's called Stormfront by.
I still have.
Fuck, what's his name?
Like 14 Wheel of Time books to read.
Yeah, I know. But this is the Harry Dresden. It's the Dresden Files. I've told you about before.
Okay, yeah, I know about
the modern day wizard. Like,
yeah, you don't got. Yeah,
fantastic series. I recommend that.
I think they're still making them.
Yeah, I would probably say that. I'd recommend that over B.V. Larson, even the Undying Mercenaries. Supposedly, I think there's 22 books in that series too.
Jesus,
or 20, something like that. The next one is supposed to.
I think my book series is gonna have like 5.
And then the next book is supposed to be coming out soon, but every time I look anything up, there's no definite release date. So, and unfortunately, the way they ended the last book, it could have been the end, but they still left a lot open just in case. You know what I mean?
This is the end for us, my friend.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
How about fantasy movie? Did you watch any of those?
A lot.
Okay, and how many honorable mentions you got there? I have 3 honorable mentions.
Well,
is a slim pickings for fantasy movies this year. Slim pickings.
It was, yeah. I say a lot, but none of them came out this year. Just like sci-fi movies. Do you know how close I was to putting down? What was that movie with the spaceship?
The movie with the spaceship?
The demonic spaceship. Event Horizon.
Event Horizon from 1995 or something.
Yeah. Do you know how close I was to putting down Event Horizon for sci-fi? And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I watched that this year.
So what did you pick?
So for fantasy movie, I picked another one that my kids and I thoroughly enjoyed. And unfortunately have watched many times now, but Inside Out 2.
And how is this a fantasy movie?
Because it takes place in her head.
Is there swords or sorcery or magic or anything like that in it? Castles, princesses?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want to,
I never watched it, so
if you want to call it magic, I mean, like they have their own little abilities, but I mean, they're on her head. It follows a girl named Riley and all of her different emotions, and each emotion is a different living being inside of her. She's hitting puberty, and suddenly it goes from like joy and anger, stuff like that, and now you have anxiety and all these other emotions that you know.
That's not a real emotion.
Well, it isn't this. But it was a really good family movie to watch. Like it just, It was heartwarming. I did tear up towards the end of this.
Oh,
the way this movie represents anxiety, like full-on anxiety attacks and stuff like that, like it was just incredible. It was completely relatable, which is weird to say about a kids movie.
Well, do you think the creators, like the artists, were having a lot of anxiety
living up to the rep of the first one?
No,
yeah,
no,
probably.
just like the whip that was probably cracking off their back to get this done.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's a fantastic movie. I strongly recommend it. It's funny, it's heartwarming, and it's also...
It did really well at the box office.
It did. It really did. It has great rewatch value. I would know. We've seen it many times now. So, and I feel it also...
Whether you want to watch it or not.
Well, and I feel like it also opens up the door for conversation. Because my 9-year-old had questions about the anxiety character and why she was so bouncy and so, like, her whole point was, like, we have to make sure Riley is liked. And I'm like, well... we got to have good conversations about what it's, peer pressure, as well as just that constant need to be liked and not being yourself, like trying to conform to what other people think. And funny enough, it was a very good conversation with a 9-year-old.
I'm waiting to watch it until I have my kid, because I'm just holding off on a lot of kids' movies until then.
Because you don't want to watch them.
No, I do want. I do want to watch them.
I get it.
I didn't watch the first one yet. So.
I get it. You're saying my pick sucks. That's fine.
Well, I mean. No. We live in a world where we can have our own opinions, and if you think this is a fantasy movie because it has what's the word I'm looking for here? Imaginary characters in their head. I mean, a lot of people had If and the Magic Crayon movie.
I completely skipped my honorable mention. Sorry, yeah, I had If as my honorable mention because again another really good family.
I fell
movie.
asleep. I straight passed.
Really?
I was bored as shit in that movie.
It was
like, this is Ryan Reynolds. Why am I so bored?
It wasn't a funny movie, really. It was definitely a context-heavy funny.
I woke up enough to see the end to go, oh, that made sense.
Yeah. What's his name? John Krasinski nailed it. Fantastic performance. Ryan Reynolds did nail it, but...
John Krasinski? Wasn't he in the Purple Crayon movie?
Maybe. I didn't watch that one. But he was the dad in this one.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few others. I can't think of them right now.
Oh yeah, he was the dad. He's one like the mom dying in the hospital or something. Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What about yourself? What did you pick for a fantasy movie?
I picked. Well, my honorable mentions were Watchers, because it has fairies in it in a horror way. If, but I did fall asleep in the middle of it. And Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, because it had some mythological stuff in there. The one demon was all
right. I'll give that to you.
Something. If you can pick people in, imaginary people in somebody's heads, I can put Ghostbusters on honorable mention.
They're emotions and they're alive.
Okay.
Son of a...
I picked Damsel.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, it was a shallow year for fantasy, for sword and sorcery and that type of genre. But even extending the boundaries of fantasy, I kept coming back to this little Netflix movie. I have not been on the Millie Bobby Brown train like ever, but this movie and her performance made me realize she's a good actress in her own right. Maybe it's because she wasn't like playing a kiddie. Like, I mean, she's Stranger Things, and then she was in the Sherlock Holmes type thing, but she's always played sort of a kid.
Yeah. Here
she plays like a young adult, and she does it very well. And she had long hair. She wasn't like have a shaved head. So, or dressed in some horrible 80s clothing. Like really bad.
I didn't see Damsel. Is that the one where like they pretend like they're going to marry, but then they actually want to sacrifice her?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. And then she has to kill everything.
No. There's a lady called, I'm going to butcher her name here. Shore Agdaslu.
We'll just call her Shuri.
Yeah, sure. We'll call that. She's been in a lot of things. She has a really deep, gravelly voice. I think she's Indian in heritage. But she plays like the voice of the dragon in this and just kills it.
Okay.
Yeah. It takes that fantasy princess trope and puts it upside down. You get Robin Wright Penn being not nice, which I really enjoyed. Ray Winstone plays a really shitty father trying to redeem himself for some shitty decisions. It made things different. And it was a short little movie. I don't think it's super long. It's to the point. It reminded me a lot, like, imagine Bilbo and Smaug, and when he gets in there and they have that little conversation. But imagine like that little tiff that they have goes on for an entire movie, because that's kind of what it is. And I think if you're a fan of dragons and princesses and sacrifice and shit, you should check this movie out, because it does have some horror elements in it. But
it's an hour and 50 minutes.
Is it? Well, it seemed short.
Okay.
It did. It seemed short. I don't know. It started off like the first 5 minutes are kind of slow, but you know, it spends a lot of time in caves. But listen, there wasn't a lot, and I'm not saying this as it was a bad movie, but there wasn't a lot to really put up against it.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
Like, there was no Lord of the Rings, there was no Gladiator. I mean, Gladiator is out now in this time, but for us, it doesn't come out until like this Friday or something. So, and that's not really fantasy. That's not documentary, but that's historical, you know? But yeah, I picked Damsel. I think you guys should check it out. Moving into fantasy TV show area spots.
It's okay. That's your era. That's the big cool thing now.
This is my era.
Yeah.
So what were your honorable mentions for fantasy TV show?
Oh, man. So fantasy TV show. So to me, fantasy isn't just swords and sorcery. Fantasy is anything that's not realistic, but also not scientific based.
Okay.
Does that make any sense at all?
It makes sense.
Just not good sense? What?
It's not normally my parameters, but what do you have? What do you have in mind? Defend it. That's the rule on here. If you want to make a pick or a point, just defend it well. Make me see your point of view.
Fair. I don't have any honorable mentions written down for this one.
Well, I could throw out to you my honorable mentions, and we'll see what your winner was. That's nothing like these. Like Chaos Season 1 that got canceled. House of the Dragon Season 2. Horrible last episode. Avatar The Last Airbender Season 1. Those are my honorable mentions. So what was your winner? What did you have?
My winner was Agatha All Along.
It's witches and stuff. And I'm pretty sure there was an episode with swords. And they're witches. They use magic. That's fantasy.
Okay, the swords were falling from the ceiling.
Yeah, well.
All right, fine.
This is a fantasy show. Why were you thinking this wasn't a fantasy show? Anyways,
I chose Agatha All Along for fantasy.
But why didn't you think it was a fantasy show?
I don't know. I just thought you'd argue with me.
No.
Man. So this is one of those shows that I told you before. I didn't even think I was going to watch it. I didn't.
Oh, I know.
I didn't think I'd like it. Like, I don't know. I guess I couldn't figure out what Agatha Harkness had. The little bit we really got to know her in WandaVision, that would make me want to watch an entire show about her.
It had Catherine Hahn.
That was honestly the only reason I watched it, was because I like her. She's an amazing actress. I figured, all right, let's go for it. It turned into one of the best shows I think I've ever seen come out of the Disney Marvel era.
Did you like it better than WandaVision?
I did. And I feel like that's saying something, because of the Marvel shows, for the longest time it was ranked Loki, then WandaVision, and then everything else. And now I have to put it as Loki and then Agatha All Along.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, Aubrey Plaza, Catherine Hahn, all those other people.
I don't know the actress, but the actress that the bald girl.
Yeah, Jen.
Phenomenal. I don't know if I've seen her in anything, but she knows how to act.
Well, and the thing, she'll be back too.
I hope.
If I remember correctly from the comics, now they did. I mean, they cast her. She was amazing. So I'm curious to see what they do. But I believe she was like the cousin of Ghost Rider.
No, why not?
In the comics. So I'm really curious.
Everybody has to be linked to everybody.
Well, yeah, but I'm really curious to see if that means that we're going to get Ghost Rider in at some point. So
there's been rumblings about it.
But yeah, Agatha All Along, I mean, it was so well put together. Everything about it worked nicely. There's definitely rewatch value. We've talked about that. The cast was chosen perfectly, and I feel like they really added the perfect amount of darkness to a normally lighthearted MCU. Now, here's the thing
there's death.
Well, yeah, and like
death
every
happens.
episode. And they even made it clear at multiple points, like, there's no coming back. I mean, let's look at the final episode when we finally get to get, the whole backstory. That, for any Disney franchise, that's dark. we're not going to get into it because that show's really new, and I don't want. That's one of those the few that I don't want to spoil. I want you to go experience it.
We're going to come up with a category here later on where I will tell you why an honorable pick did not win.
Okay.
Because of a spoiler that they just put right out there.
Okay.
So,
but one of the biggest things about this one for me,
so I won't do that to anybody,
is once you watch the whole thing and you know, okay, everything there is to know about it, go rewatch it. So much.
I'm going to rewatch it next Halloween.
So many actions of mostly Catherine Hahn, so many things that she says, they take on a whole different meaning and they make so much more sense the second time around. I went back and rewatched some of it because I was reading online. People were saying you have to, and they're right. There's so much that you pick up that it's like, holy crap, I get that now. I call them Easter eggs. You call it planning. But that's my pick, Agatha All Along.
Okay.
It's
a good pick.
Will be very surprised if it doesn't pull in at least nominations at the the Grammys? The
Grammys is music.
Yeah, good enough. Well, they sing.
They do sing. Yeah, Perfect. I didn't hate the singing in here. It was rock and roll, but you know.
Some of it.
I do like the Witch's Road is a dope ass song. It's a cool tune.
Now, did they write that for the show?
They had to have, because I started researching the Witch's Road and it's just for Marvel. Like that's not a
okay.
You know, because I'm a pagan, you know, so, and I'm an eclectic pagan, so I have, you know, I take things from all around, and I was like, oh, is this even remotely close to actual mythology anywhere? And it's not that I could really find. It's just kind of made up.
Right.
So,
but
yeah,
Agatha All Along. That's my pick. What about you? What do you have for fantasy television?
Suits.
I hate you.
Well, I already gave you my honorable mentions. But the winner clearly to me, now I thought it was gonna be Hot Dragon. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, man. The whole Melise thing and the dragons and, you know, Rook's Rest. And I was like, oh, and then I was like, what the fuck are they doing for like 4 episodes? And then the ending, I was like, what?
So that finale, huh?
Yeah, like, oh my God. So I was like, well, there's another kick-ass show starting up. I'm glad they, you know, let this one come out shortly after that one. So I was like, ooh, that's a good palate cleanser. I chose Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Season 2. Why? Charlie fucking Vickers, you scamp. This guy. Season 2 starts out a little bit slow, and it took me a couple minutes to remember who everyone was. I mean, those names. like I knew who they were, but I was like, what's your name? What is your name? Just write down your name.
Well, and some of them are like, hi, this is Elrond. This is Elrind. That's Elrend.
Celebrimbor is a badass name, though.
Well,
I'm going to point that out. Yeah, Sam Hazeldine is a great replacement as Adar. You replace the other guy from last season. And his storyline is so fucking sad. Like, oh my God, it's just heartbreaking. You know, but Sauron stole the show. Like every scene he's in the scenes with Celebrimbor, or he's in the scene with Galadriel, and he's just like, there's this girl in the show who's kind of like buttering up to him because he's like, Celebrimbor's really mean to her for a minute, and he's like, oh no, don't worry, baby, come here, it's fine, I got you, we're good, man. No, he's got some issues going on, it's cool, baby. And then like 2 episodes later, dead. He gave no shits, just flick of his wrist, dead. Didn't even look back, didn't even blink an eye, just killed her so that it would serve his purpose. Like, she's like, oh baby, you want to have dead. Like, I was like, this is the Sauron I've always, the Dark Lord, who is willing to legitimately kill anybody at any time if you don't give him what he wants. The shit that he does to Celebrimbor, the torturous nature of it all, walking up and just plucking the fucking arrow, bling, like, oh my God. Like, yeah, there's other shit that happens in the show. I did like the Gandalf, Tom Bombadil. Like, I didn't know much about him. You know, I've read some of the Hobbit, but I never I don't have it by memory, and you know, it's so long ago. But like, this actor killed it as him. I was like, I really like this dude, and I'd like to see him again. I know he's a mysterious figure, doesn't really ever show up often, but the stuff that he does with Gandalf and how Gandalf gets his name, I was kind of disappointed that it was Gandalf. I was like, come on, do something different, do something different, do something different. No, it's the Grand Elf.
Like make it Radagast or something.
Yeah, I was like, well, this dude's way taller than Radagast. I was like, it can't be Sauron, you know, like, or Sauron. So let's but whatever. It's fine. This guy's he's a serviceable replacement for a younger version of Ian McKellen.
And I do love that they put Tom Bombadil in because he got gypped on
the movies. Yeah.
Like, he wasn't in any of them, and he was a major part in some of them.
He sure was. Just cut him out. For more CGI trolls.
I remember reading correctly. He's like practically god level. Like
they're powerful.
Well, in The Hobbit, there's a scene. I was
doing some deep dives after this.
Well, yeah, in The Hobbit, there's a scene where he takes in the books where he has the ring, and he's like, "Oh, cute."
He don't give a shit.
Like he gives it right back. Like, he could care less about it. He's a million times more powerful than a stupid trinket. Like,
yeah, he gives no shit.
Tom Bombadil could like snap his fingers and end the whole thing. Like,
he probably could, but that's not his way. That's not his purpose.
No, he is a carefree. I do my own thing.
They're singing their little songs at the end, humming and stuff. It was just really good. The visuals in the show were really good. I mean, you got to get me engaged. You got to let me know right away. Am I going to care about this character? Can I make Michael care about this character if something happens? And there's a few characters in here where I was like, please don't. Now there's a couple I could give a shit less. I don't care. Elendil. This is Aragorn's heir. This guy is badass. He looks badass. He moves badass. He talks badass. He's got morals. He's got ethics. He will punch you in the face. Like, he's just, this guy is awesome. This actor's good. I don't even know where this guy even came from. I'm sure he's done a lot of stuff, but like, so good. Just Lloyd Owen is his name.
Do they confirm that he's a descendant of Aragorn?
Yeah, well, because his son's
Arathorn,
or no, not Arathorn. Isildur.
Oh, okay.
And at the end of the season, he goes to see the other son, who will eventually get Gondor and the other one that crumbles, the other place that's right above Gondor.
Osgiliath?
No, that's the town in, like, the other country.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then they talk about in Lord of the Rings that Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and then when you go through the family tree, it goes up to Isildur and them. So yeah, he's like the
he's the father of Isildur.
Yes. Yeah. You didn't know that?
I
watch it. It's kind of hard because they go back and forth between the island and mainland.
Yeah, I haven't finished season 2 yet.
Oh,
I was waiting for it all to come out, and then I just kind of
I can't wait, dude. I gotta watch these shows.
I've read so much Lord of the Rings material. You honestly could not spoil something for me unless it's literally like, hey, let's just do this for TV.
Well, the thing is here, they can only use the appendices and other things that they can't use full books. So what
we said before, the Tolkien estate is lock and key on all of those properties.
The Ringerverse, they did a thing on this, and I'll agree with Joanna Robinson that the writers of this, they can't take word for word out of these books, so they have to write the dialogue themselves. But the way that they write it sounds like Tolkien. Like, it's so well done that they do that, and you feel like you're in that world. I know I was weary about this show coming out, and I know they had a couple issues in season 1 because, like, is this really? I know a lot of people, you are part of this, that don't like The Hobbit, and you don't think it's really part, and you're like, I'll watch everything but that. But to me, like, I want this. I was afraid that it wouldn't fit into the universe. It would look different. It would feel different. This feels like Lord of the Rings, the movies.
Well, I've already decided I'm going to do my rewatch because I told you I rewatched the entire trilogy.
I do it around the holidays.
I do it twice a year.
Oh, shit.
I do. I love Lord of the Rings. This time around, I'm going to add the Hobbit trilogy into it. I've never seen the third one.
How can you say you hate it if you never even watched the last one?
The first 2 were horrible.
They're not.
As far as following the book.
True.
I'm going to give it a fair shot and just ignore Legolas because he's not in the fucking book.
Well, neither's the girl, Evangeline Lilly.
No, she's not, but she's easier to look at than Orlando.
It's the Goonies, cast a couple boobies.
What?
The epic rap battle we watched.
Oh, jeez. Wow. All right.
So that we'll move on from fantasy TV show. Let's move on to horror.
That's horror.
Murder.
Top horror movie of 2025.
Next year, one of the Predator ones.
Yeah. So the only honorable mention I really have here is Subservience. With what was it, Megan Fox? I consider that not really.
She was killing motherfuckers.
That's what only reason I went horror. That was like a sci-fi horror to me. AI horror.
It is sci-fi horror.
which we did talk about in the Naughty AI episode.
Yeah. Did that one drop yet?
No, but it will by the time they hear this.
Okay. Well, let me just throw out the ones that you didn't, since you have no honorable mentions. How about that? And then we'll let you give your pick.
Go ahead. I wasn't done, but go ahead.
Oh, what else you have?
That was it.
That's right. I have Low Life, Blink Twice, Suits, Terrifier 3, The Substance, Suits again, Inviolate Nature, Trap, Abigail, and Alien Romulus.
You really threw Suits in there?
Twice. Don't worry, this will not be a running theme through season 3. I will ignore it.
Well, since you got all that out of the way, my top horror movie pick, you're never going to see this coming, was Alien Romulus.
Ooh, that turd.
I don't know how anybody could have thought I'd pick anything different. My note underneath it literally says, I've talked at great lengths about this one. I think I'm done. I don't know what more to say. If you want to hear my opinion, go to the Alien Romulus episode
or listen to the last couple episodes
or any episode for the past half of this year. It is a fantastic movie. They went back to that horror claustrophobic vibe of the Alien franchise, but it also had a little bit of a mixture of aliens in it, like the badass standoff.
It was well balanced.
I loved it. I have, don't get me wrong, it wasn't perfect. I have my my nitpicks, like, oh, they can see heat. I have plenty to say about that, but go back to the episode and you'll hear it all. Like,
you hear about me bitch about windshield wipers.
Windshield wipers on a spaceship. Yep, we got that in there too.
You know, but then we did watch Event Horizon, and I did see that they had wipers on it.
That just made it all better.
Why the Enterprise, does the Millennium Falcon have wipers?
I want to
Chewie. Where are the
I think we should write into Disney and say, can you please add these?
Well, the new Star Wars Skeleton Crew should be out, so we'll see if that ship the kids might have wipers on it.
But that's my pick. I'm not going to go into great detail. I've done it many times. Okay. Alien Romulus. This is one that I do recommend to anybody. I absolutely love it. And I was telling you off mic, my sister-in-law messaged me and told me that she finally watched it with her husband. And she hated it because she loved it, but it was so disturbing. And I sent her a picture of, what's his name, the 7'7" Bulgarian basketball player that plays The Offspring, and said, just so you know, that thing was like 99% practical, not CGI. And she just replied with, no. So, sorry, I guess I just invaded her nightmares for at least the next 6 months.
Well, I suppose I would throw out my pick. I do have to say, precursor to this, I sent my pick and I got a response back saying, it's not Terrifier 3. And my response to that, of course, was, it takes more than blood and gore to make a great horror movie. Now, Terrifier 3 is a stupendous movie. It's really good what they're doing. They're beating the odds. It's a fun movie. A little bit of a confusing movie. I think there might be, maybe hopefully they sew up some narrative issues in the next one. But yes, it's funny and weird and kind of thrilling to watch somebody get sawed in half. But how many times can somebody get sawed in half? And does that really make for me caring if a character lives or dies? Does it make me have suspense, or gives me goosebumps if somebody's going to be found or who is the killer? It doesn't give me all of that. It's just blood and gore right in my face, which is great in its own way, but I need a plot twist. I need a hook. I need a mystery, something somewhere. I was going to give this to Abigail, but Abigail from the very first trailer says this little girl that they're kidnapping is a vampire and she's going to kill them.
Well, that's unfortunate.
So it wasn't even just like Reddit or anybody. It's like, no, here in the trailer, you see, oh shit, this girl's a monster.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. I feel, and listen, Abigail's a great movie. It's got some good comedy in it.
It wasn't like a red herring. It was blatant. This is blatant. What it is.
There's not really that much of a twist after that.
I would not like that.
There's one other twist that is like minor that happens. But I guess just watching the way that they try to escape from her is good for a lot of people. I enjoyed it. I did. I'd watch Abigail again. It's a great vampire movie. It just sucks. You know, I wish I wouldn't have known she was a vampire. It would have gave it a little bit extra spice. but it didn't. So I went back to the well and I chose Alien Romulus.
Sorry, I had to put that in there.
No, that's good. I chose it, and I won't go into great lengths about this either, but it's a great fitting movie for the series because it does what it needed to do. It made me give a shit. I wasn't bored. I laughed. There was a scene where I was like, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Why? Come on, let's go. You know, we talked about that red room scene.
Open the door.
Open the fucking door. Like, let's go. Yeah, it's just a fun popcorn alien movie. And listen, it's good enough that we're still getting, you know, they still kept pushing to get the Alien TV show that we're going to get. There's Fede Alvarez is talking about doing a sequel directly to this one because he said we're not done with those two characters. So we're going to possibly get that. I mean, this has sparked, along with Prey, more Predator news coming out. Like, this has helped a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Movies that you and I, we did episodes on Alien. We did movies on Predator, AVP, you know, and we did one on this as well. There's a reason we keep talking about it because it's a kick-ass movie.
Well, and this was supposed to be another straight to Hulu, just like Prey.
Yeah, and they're like, no, we're going to make the movie out of that.
Success of Prey, they pushed it for theaters, and I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad that, in hindsight, I'm glad that Prey did go to Hulu because it pushed for stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's that chance that maybe it didn't make money and then we wouldn't be getting this stuff. But yeah, Alien Romulus is my pick. So let's move on to horror TV show. What was your favorite horror TV show? And do you have any memorable or mentions? And do you want me to say any honorable mentions?
So I'll just be straightforward. Unlike Sonic 3, where it's not out yet in our timeline, I simply have nothing for horror TV. So I'm going with What We Do in the Shadows.
It's out right now.
Which is
I just watched episode 7.
It's not horror by any means, but it's vampires, it's werewolves.
It is horror. It's a horror comedy.
Is that what it's classified as?
There's a whole genre of horror comedies.
It's Matt Berry.
There's blood. There's guts. There's
What We Do in the Shadows is a show that I did not expect to love as much as I do. Colin Robinson is possibly my spirit animal.
John harped and hounded me to watch this show, and I tried to watch the first episode a few times, and then finally I did it one last time. I got to episode 3, and then I took off from there.
Yes. He'll swear the movie's better, but I disagree.
He was over the other night, and he said the same thing again.
I've seen part of the movie, and it was boring to me.
We're planning on watching it, but
the show, completely different actors. It's just leagues better, in my opinion. I don't know. Well,
it's connects because Taika Waititi's character is in the Council of Vampires, so it's in the same universe.
But yeah, so I went with that. What We Do in the Shadows. Sadly, it's in its last season.
Yeah,
but it is a fantastic show.
I feel like this season's a little bit off compared to the last ones. It's had a couple good episodes, but I think it is time that they wrap it up.
Maybe they're saving up for the finale. This is all filler.
Maybe.
But
I mean, Nandor's doing good though. Fucking love me some Nandor, dude. Oh my god. Dude, the episode where he has like the army of mannequins.
Dude, Nandor, he's good.
Did you just think I had the army of
I've never seen that actor before.
I never did either.
He's amazing. Again, though, Matt Berry, he's the reason I decided to give it a shot.
Fucking Laszlo, dude.
I love me some Matt Berry. He's just everything I've seen him in. He's literally the exact same character, just in a different outfit.
I think he's like Cravensworth the monster and like, oh, just like Frankenstein. Never heard of it. Never heard of the man. No, never.
But what about you? What'd you pick for horror TV? Since I know you watched a little bit more of it than I did.
I'll go through my mentions. And some of them I didn't pick because simply they're still ongoing at the moment that we did these. Ghosts season 4. it just started up. What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah. Well, it has ghosts in it. So I was like, yeah. What We Do in the Shadows is still ongoing. Chucky season 3 part 2. I still have yet to finish it, unfortunately, and I'm fairly mad at myself about it. Evil season 4 still ongoing. Or no, that one ended. I'm sorry, that one completely ended. From season 3 is still ongoing. But I chose as my favorite horror TV show of the year, Interview with the Vampire season 2. I binged season 1 with Emily, and we jumped a couple days later right into season 2. I didn't want to watch it at first because A, I thought it might be boring, and 2, I was like, is it going to get a season 2 or 3? Like, I don't want to like jump into something here Like I've tried the Mayfair Witches. I'm really struggling to get through it. It's another Anne Rice thing, and it's just, I don't know.
Wasn't this a movie though too?
The Discovery Witches? I don't know.
No.
Oh,
Sorry.
this was
okay
with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Okay.
This is just a retelling of it.
Oh, so it's not like a sequel or anything.
No.
Okay.
This is the same characters, but told over a TV show instead.
Okay.
With some other characters that were in the books. I had no fucking idea. I didn't know these were like all books and shit. Like I don't know. But I'm glad I gave it a shot. This one has sex. It has violence. It has some really good acting. There's a guy called Sam Reed. He plays Lestat. And this guy, to me, is bar none the star of the show. This guy's accent, his French accent, and the monologue he gives towards the latter half of this season, the way he can just draw up emotion of sorrow and pain and torture. This is a love story. Yes, it's two vampire guys that love each other throughout the ages, and they fight about it, and they leave each other, and other vampires get involved. But people do get their heads ripped off, and blood does splatter everywhere, and people get turned into vampires, and you see how powerful they're like throwing each other through fucking walls and shit, and beating the fuck out of each other. But it just has like everything that I didn't think it was gonna have. And I just got sucked right into it. Emily loves it as well. Like she can't wait for season 3. There was a change of actors in this. In the original movie, Kirsten Dunst plays a character. She's played by somebody completely different here of sorts, but just like in Lord of the Rings, they had to switch an actress. I guess this other actress had a big opportunity and she had to take it. So this other girl jumped in for it and she fucking killed it. Like she was just, I was like, I don't know, man, is this girl gonna be as good as the other girl? I don't know. She was just as good. And just like Adar, they might not be coming back for another season. God damn it.
I thought you said Nandor.
He ain't come back for another season either. Because they're more, hopefully they get their own movie. That'd be good.
So Interview with a Vampire, season, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, the passion and heartbreak and just, this show's just good, man. It is so good. It was under my radar for a while, but there's a guy called Ben Daniels. He plays a bad guy called Santiago. I don't know where this dude came from, but this dude's acting chops are like through the fucking roof.
Really?
Yeah, like I was like, dude, like this is a masterclass in acting. Like I'm telling you, we watch a lot of shows, a lot of movies, you and I, Emily, my friends, and there's stuff where they're serviceable actors and they get their point across, they cry, they laugh, whatever. But then there's those people that you just can't stop watching them. Like you hang on every word. Because of their mannerisms, the way they move their body, the way they make a certain Southern draw or a French accent, and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, I've got one of them.
You know, like, I don't know, this dude's an older guy. I don't know where the hell he's been, but this dude is good, man. This guy and that Sam Reed. And of course, it's got the guy from Game of Thrones who was part of the Unsullied. He was the leader of the Unsullied towards the end.
The one everybody hated?
No, this is he got castrated.
Yeah, okay. I know
he was with Masandre or whatever.
I forget his name, but I know who you mean.
Yeah, he plays Louis in this one, and he's really good too. But these other guys are just leagues above. They're so good.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from horror and let's go into the horror of real life, the horror of documentaries, where we get to see how people are like Tiger King.
Wow. So I truly thought this is going to be one of the hardest categories, but it wasn't. I have my answer right away. Now, I'm going to just preface this by saying I picked a docu-series.
That's fine. That's fine.
Season 5.
That's good. I had a couple honorables that were series, you know?
I don't have any honorables mentioned. Well, I mean, I could think of some probably, but most of the ones I've watched are not from this year.
It's hard to find a good documentary these days.
But The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, season 5, came out this year.
I've heard of it, but I don't know really anything about it.
I am obsessed with that show.
Well, I mean, there's 5 seasons.
The history of Skinwalker Ranch, all of the, from bullshit theories to, I don't want to say proven theories, but, stuff that they do or they quote prove it. Which,
give me a basic 3 or 4 sentence synopsis of what the show is even about.
The show or the ranch in general?
Combine your answer.
For a very, very long time, we're talking like 200 years, very weird shit has happened on that ranch as far as cattle mutilations, seeing massive, almost direwolf-sized creatures.
Is it in America?
Yeah, it's in Nevada.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So real ranch, crazy shit happens.
Completely real ranch, very, very weird paranormal type stuff happening. And in the show, they are, and it's supposed to be a documentary series. It's a group of scientists for the most part coming in, working with the ranch hands who are still there because it's gone through different ownerships. Actually, the one ownership before they sold it, he did tons of experiments there, but like never released any of the data. I guess supposedly sold it to the U.S. government and then sold the ranch and walked away. Everything. Magnetic experiments, like supernatural experiments, you name it.
So this is the horror version of Yellowstone.
Kind of. I mean, they've had everything from like using thermal cameras at night. It's a desert where it's, for the most part, still pretty warm. They'll have like insane cold spots show up.
It doesn't get pretty cold
in the woods, like randomly moving around. They'll have like different objects appear in the sky that they call, UAPs, like UFOs. Like
a fucking UFO, and Pluto's a planet. I don't care.
But, like, it'll just move around weirdly and then just vanish. They've had multiple times, like military airplanes and helicopters fly very low over that aren't registered on the, you have to register your flight plans. They've shot rockets up in an area that they believe is like an anomaly, like a magnetic anomaly of some sort, and something weird happens, or like they'll take drones up, like a whole like net of them, like you would see like a drone show, and certain ones will start to malfunction and fall, but it's always in that one area.
So it's these scientists investigating all the crazy shit that happens.
But basically, they've tried to take core samples of the one mesa where all the weird shit's kind of surrounded. And normally they keep hitting something insanely hard deep inside. Like LiDAR readings show that there could easily be a very massive metallic object in there that they think is dome shaped. And so they like to allude that it could be a mixture of paranormal. It could be an alien spaceship, like all this stuff. And it's just one of those shows that like you keep coming back because like I want to know, what are they going to find? Even though if they ever find something, it's going to hit the news long before the episode airs.
Do you buy any of it?
I definitely believe something weird happens there because there's reports going into the 1800s easily. Now, all the stuff they're doing, I don't know about. I mean, I think a lot of it's definitely for TV. But the one scientist...
is this like a ghost hunters thing where like...
The one scientist who...
heard something garbled on an audio?
The lead guy in charge of it was actually a government official of like some of these like paranormal and like sci-fi type research, like, and he didn't tell actually there was almost a falling out. He didn't tell the cast that he worked for the government when he came in. They thought he was more of like a freelancer, and when they found that out because he said some stuff, I guess during Congress or whatever, like they almost had to cancel it because...
Did they over dramatize the stuff he said?
Oh yeah, TV? Sometimes. But then there's other times where...
It's always on, like, you might want to watch this. I'm like, no, I don't.
But then there's other times where, like, the simplest things will happen when they actually explain what this reading means. It's like, oh, all right, that's actually it. That's weird.
That LiDAR stuff's cool, man. Shit they're finding in the Amazon. It's cool shit.
My favorite, though, I think it was season 5. It might have been season 4. They had Native American tribesmen from that area come in who still practice the old, musical... I'm going to sound like an asshole, but like the drums and like the deep throat singing, and they had a little fire. They made a circle and they started playing the music, and they had infrared looking around, and they saw at the top of the one mesa started getting really, really red at night when everything was cold for no reason. And it was only while they were singing. When they would stop, it would cool down again. And when they would start again, like they saw what looked like a heat signature, like kind of moving down the ridge. And so finally they're like, all right, we're done. We need to leave. Simple things like that are like, oh, okay, I mean, that could easily be staged, but if it's not, that's weird.
No, it does sound strange. It does sound weird.
I mean...
I had trouble watching those type of shows.
You have to take everything with a grain of salt. But it's entertaining, and to me, I love keeping in mind that I don't know. So for me, it's fun to watch because who knows? Maybe they are going to one day punch through the dome under the mesa and
go back to the big ring. You never know.
Little things are going to crawl out and eat everybody's souls. I don't know.
Yeah, well.
But that's my documentary.
You gingers out there.
What? What is your documentary pick or your honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions, Mr. McMahon, Secret of the Neanderthals, Ancient Apocalypse Season 2, The Americas, and Chimp Crazy. So I said way back when in this episode that I don't have any time to watch wrestling anymore. But I did have time a few nights in my bed to watch the Netflix docuseries, it was like 4 parts or something, Mr. McMahon. Growing up a wrestling fan, Vinnie Mac was always there. Like, the dude owns the World Wrestling Federation, WWE, Wrestling Entertainment, what do you want to call it? Or he did. He's kind of on the outs now, but that could change for him soon. Who knows? But who was he? Like, did he actually act like this in real life? Like this over the top, crazy, villainous character, the evil boss? What did we really know about this guy other than what we saw on screen? So this series takes place to tell, they're talking to him just before all the major allegations hit, where the Wall Street Journal came out the reports that he was being accused of some not good things.
Yeah.
And you actually see him get up and walk away from the cameras and go talk to people. And they say at the bottom, this is when the allegations came out. He doesn't really talk to him much after that, but you get a lot of interview with him before him. You get people like The Rock and John Cena. You get a lot of people that don't like him and a lot of people that idolize him. People that say he's like a father figure to me, but other people go, dude, he's a worthless piece of shit. You get like that duality. They lay it all out for you. Here's what we know. Here's what this person said, that person said. You make your own decision. Is he a good person, not a good person? And that's what I enjoyed. I don't like them when there's a show that instantly says we're going to talk about this bad person, and that's all you get's the bad stuff.
Yeah.
You never see the good that he did do a lot of charity work. He did a lot of philanthropist type stuff. Sorry, my mouth's really dry. Said that word wrong. But he's also done some supposedly really bad things as well.
Look at Sandusky with Penn State.
Yeah.
He had the Second Mile, I think it was called, where it was like helping kids, but then he was also doing not so good things with the kids.
Too many showers, man. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. You
don't never know.
You don't know.
But it was a nice series to watch, to learn about his childhood, where he grew up, what was his real relationship with his father, stuff that wasn't scripted and on screen.
Yeah.
Like what did we find out about the man himself? And it was good to see that, and it kept my attention. Even Emily would, she'd roll over, she's done playing her little phone, and then she'd roll back over and go, "What? No shit, really? That's fucked up." And then she'd roll back over and go back to sleep. Yeah.
She's sleeping, but it's playing like a movie in her head.
Yeah, and I'd say something. She goes, "Well, what do you mean?" I'd explain to her, like what happened in 1995 or something.
Yeah.
Like she's like, "That happened?" Like, yeah, that's what they say.
Well, that's like I'll lay in bed and watch that alone on Netflix, where you know what I mean, where they drop people off completely alone and they have to survive. My wife, Danae, she'll just be on her phone, and I'll just be like, "Oh shit!" And she'll be like, "What? What happened?" "Well, you'd know, but here, let me explain it to you quick." And then 2 seconds later, she's back on her phone like,
Emily plays a little Wordle and then she goes to sleep. It helps her slow her mind down, so it's not like we're on the couch.
She'll lay there on her phone reading or something, but also trying to pay attention to like a movie. It's like, to pick one, come on.
I'm dual purpose. But Chimp Crazy was pretty cool too, though. About these people raising chimpanzees. That one was wild. But it sounds like to me, man, like Netflix killed it for me this year. And what's really weird, because I turn on Netflix and I'm like, there's nothing here I want to watch.
Yeah.
I think I find the 5 things I want, I watch them, and then I'm done.
Well, I told you, we ended up getting rid of Netflix. We got rid of Disney Plus. I mean, it was just one of those things where, like, there wasn't enough we were watching. But now I'm kind of regretting it because there's a lot of good stuff I see coming out. It's like, only on Netflix. Oh, come on. So I don't know. We might pick it up again. We might not. I don't know yet.
We're holding on to it for now. What was my favorite episode that we recorded this year? I'm going to narrow it down in my head real quick to the Lethal Weapon or Predator. I feel like both of them were exhausting for me because we did so many movies.
Well,
but I was so excited to do Lethal Weapon, and I felt like it came out very well, but I'm still going to give it to the Predator series.
So for anybody listening, the reason it was exhausting was we did Alien and Predator, both episodes in the same night. So we watched all of both franchises leading up to that night. And then we did the same thing with Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. We did both episodes in one night.
Well, there's so much research for all of these.
Oh, there was.
But I was so pumped to do Predator.
That's why we decided to go to like, okay, if we're going to do some movies, let's do like one movie.
Yeah. It was hard to do a series.
So you're saying Predator or Lethal Weapon?
Yeah. I toss up depending on the day. I was just so happy to do them. I was like, I'm doing a podcast on Lethal Weapon right now. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes.
That was a fun episode.
I was so hyped. I might have been more hyped for the Lethal Weapon one, actually. But I don't know. What about you? What was your favorite episode you recorded this year?
Man. So for me, it would have to fall on either the Alien franchise or Fallout. Fallout was just pure fun to me. Like it was just a wild ride. We just went with it. Was John on for that one? I don't remember.
Fallout Boys?
I think he might have been.
Yeah, because I was talking about you guys were telling me to play the game, and I did play the game. I played it.
Like 2
minutes. Got out of the vault, and then I never played it again.
I don't know. It was just I don't know. I probably had to go with Fallout. It was just a fun episode. Like I
think we had a fun season. Compared to season 1, I think season 2 was just
I would love feedback from listeners. Any feedback. But I feel like this season we came into our stride. We got significantly more relaxed. We got more into it, had a lot more fun, less let's try and have a full-blown structure, more of a let's just go with it. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, there's a lot of lists this year, but
you gotta have them here and there. That's fun.
And the Crossing Swords was fun too, though.
Yeah, I did.
The bracket.
I mean, John was here for that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's just out of nowhere. I feel like if we talked about possibly doing a lot of fantasy stuff next year for the next season. I feel like we should have kept that one for there.
No, next season we're going to do a sci-fi bracket.
Oh my Lord. Xenomorph versus Thing versus Howard the Duck. It's going to be great.
Howard the Duck.
What are you looking forward to in 2025? What are the big things that you're looking forward to? I have a list of a couple
The
things.
big things. Well, definitely Severance season 2. That is a very big one on my list. The way season 1 ended.
Does it come out in December?
January.
It is January.
I'm pretty sure it was January or February. I think it was January. Yeah. Well, supposedly. So we'll see. I'm super excited for it. I'm hoping hardcore that they don't screw it up. And I just say that because I say it with anything that like Firefly, amazing season, amazing hype, live up to the hype. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this is 2 years in the making since season 1. Everyone's waiting for it. I don't want them to just be like, oh, aliens, just give us what we're looking for as far as like that mystery, make it something deep and like make us think about it like you did season 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Personally, I'm still blown away that this came out of the mind of Ben Stiller. No offense to him, but he's always been that, jokester. I never thought we'd get something like this. And Adam Scott is just crushing.
He's a super intelligent dude.
He is.
I don't know if you ever heard him on a podcast from him. He's pretty intelligent.
Adam Scott is just crushing that role. It is the perfect casting.
Yes.
They're all perfect castings. And then other than that, my big one is obviously Alien Earth. I'm very curious. It's supposed to take place 2 years before the events of the original Alien movie. Rumor is we're gonna see the Nostromo be sent out with the plot. Like we're gonna see, but
we'll see. Rumors.
Setting up Ash to betray them, type of thing. But I don't know. Having aliens on Earth, I feel like that's gonna break a lot of continuity. But we'll see what happens. And if I remember correctly, it does have a decent cast to it. So.
Timothy Olyphant, I think, is in there.
Yeah, that's the whole decent cast. So
yeah. There were some other people. I just don't know off the top of my head. That's the only stuff you're looking forward to next year?
No. That's the only 2 I could think of at the moment that I wrote down.
I would say that I'm looking forward to, and I have a big list here. Superman, James Gunn's Superman.
Meh.
I'm looking forward to Sandman season 2. We're finally going to get that. Gen V season 2. We're going to get Silo season 2 just hit. So,
yeah,
I had it on here. I was, I didn't know if it was going to bleed over into next year or not.
I believe Wednesday season 2 is supposed to be next year. I think it's supposed to be late next year, but still.
Yeah, I've definitely looked forward to that one as well. Skeleton Crew does drop at the beginning of this December, but I didn't know if it was bleeding over to next year or not. Cobra Kai, the final part, because I thought I just watched the final part, but like, oh no, the actual final part comes out next year in February. Okay. And then a couple months later, we're supposed to get the movie. So, Thunderbolts.
They're wrapping it up with a movie.
Yeah, it's taking the two Karate Kid franchises and merging them together.
Oh.
Yeah. Thunderbolts, Captain America, Brave New World, Fantastic Four. Those are the Marvel ones. I'm looking forward to all three of those. Strange New Worlds for Star Trek Season 3 comes out. Five Nights at Freddy's, because the first one kind of surprised me. I was like, it was better than I thought it was going to be. We're getting a second one next year. The Conjuring Last Rites, the final addition to the James Wan universe, is coming out. We're getting a Possibilities. There's rumblings going around, which is kind of sad to say because we just lost Tony Todd. Rest in peace. They're saying there might be another Final Destination movie at the end of next year towards Halloween. So I Know What You Did Last Summer. We're getting a sequel. We're getting Scream 7. The Last of Us Season 2. I wrote down here possible Predator flick, but now we know we're getting a Predator cartoon,
Badlands.
and we're getting Predator Badlands, and of course Alien Earth. So, there's a bunch of stuff looking forward for next year. And in fact, the next episode we're going to do is going to be Days of Future Geeks 2, where we will go through month by month and we will tell you what is supposedly coming out next year and when they're supposedly coming out, and we'll talk about it for a little bit. It's a nice, simple little episode to get you set up for the geeky year.
We'll gauge our excitement level.
Yeah, like I remember the last one we did. We're like, oh, Joker 2's coming out.
Yeah,
we really tried to contain our excitement on that one.
I think the only one we really cared about was Deadpool and Wolverine.
No. I mean, as far as like maybe movies, I don't know. There was. Well, I wasn't super excited when we did that episode about Alien Romulus because I was like, we didn't really know much at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up. I'll just say on my end, thanks everybody for listening. Josh, why don't you do your beautiful bean footage that you always do and tell these people all the nitty gritty things.
All right. Well, as always, if you have something to say regarding our picks, please let us know. Let us know what we missed. Let us know what we got right. You can do that by going to Instagram, X, or Facebook. Leave a comment because we post all the time. If you want to message directly with us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/treeofgeek for $5 a month. You get access to exclusive content such as polls for upcoming episodes, kind of inside looks at upcoming episodes, as well as insider information. You'll also get a chance to chat directly with us through the online chat system that Patreon has set up. And we are currently in the works of making some extra content that will be Patreon only. So if you want to see us react to some probably really bad movies or
like DNA from 1996 that I fell asleep to today.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my God, man, it's so bad.
Maybe I'll get you to watch Alien Hunt. I don't know. We'll see. That's where you're going to find that stuff. If you ever wonder what we look like and how big our dad bellies are, that's where you're going to find out.
You caught me at the holiday season.
Yeah, I know, right? Again, it's only $5 a month if you want to join in. Otherwise, Instagram, X, and Facebook to get a hold of us.
I need money to feed my cats, guys.
We've got treeofgeek.com. You can also head over there and check us out. Give us that thumbs up on YouTube.
Smash that subscribe button.
That. And, of course, leave a comment if you feel so inclined. Thank you so much for listening. And
I appreciate you so much.
This is 2024 coming to a close. Literally, this is airing on 31st. So this is the last time of 2024. This is Josh from the Tree of Geek saying, take care, everybody.
This is the H train parking it for the final time this year. A jug. Cool.
I guess Blake Lively